Guys, please support the podcast. In the description and in the pinned comment is the PayPal, the Cash App, the Buy Me a Coffee, the Locals, the Patreon. All ways to support the show. The show needs $5,000 a month. I'd rather get $1 from 5,000 people than $5,000 from YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble, which is what it's currently doing because those are weak spots and they have in the past completely stopped paying me and outright censored me. If you want something in return, Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food, link in the description, 10% off. Sport Drink, link in the description, 10% off. And if you can't do any of that, please go to ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. Special Forces veterans since 1993 have been rescuing sex-trafficked children once a month, 12 times a year since 1993, 100% success rate. And if you can't donate to that, there's a new website up from a fan of the show where you can donate frequent flyer miles to them, which reduces overhead costs, which allows them to do more operations. Thank you. Yeah. We are recording on Thursday, April 16th, 2026 at 9:36 a.m. Eastern Time with Mr. Brendon O'Connell. And I should have said beforehand, normally I at least make an attempt to put on a clean shirt and comb my hair, but not that you asked, not that anybody cares. I'm in Portland, Maine. Something broke in my apartment building, and it's like 80% humidity in this apartment, and it feels sticky and gross, and I have a ton of podcast equipment, which shouldn't be getting humid. I don't have a dehumidifier or humidifier, so I'm cranking the air conditioner, and that's the only thing that's working. But it's April in Maine, which is essentially still winter. So that's why that's why I'm in this coat and these two blankets and shit. So not that you asked, but that's why I'm all bundled up. But Mr. O'Connell, please introduce yourself for everybody.
G'day, mate. My name is Brendan Lee O'Connell. I'm 55 years old. I was a former comprehensive registered nurse. It's a very long story. I have a tale of international intrigue. I've been to Iran to work with government analysts and make a TV show. Been to Lebanon and hung with Professor Wakim from Beirut University, smoked a Cuban cigar. So I guess I'm a communist now. He's got his dacha in Cuba. Great guy. I was hanging with friends of the foreign minister, Zarif, who you see now. He's advising the current Iranian president. Basically, way back in 2009, 2008, I had a run-in. I wasn't pro-Palestinian. I wasn't anything. I was a registered nurse and I had contacts in Palestine, Muslim community, nursing friends, and I knew what was going on. I wanted to be a Russian Orthodox monastic at one stage, so I knew a lot about the church and I knew the Abbot of Jerusalem for many years. So, it's a long story. My first taste of conspiracy was the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin in 1995. That was Bibi and Likud, that party that did that. I'm not left-wing. I am not right-wing. I am just a lover of the Bill of Rights and the US Constitution. I want to be free, baby. I'm Bill Cooperish to the hilt. If you know who Bill Cooper is.
Yeah.
And yeah, freedom, baby. It's all it's about. You can't drive from here to Idaho. You can't open a donut shop. So I have lots of criticism to do with America, its foreign policy, all that stuff. But the only thing that's going to save us is the US Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the $1 trillion military. So if you hear me go rah, rah, it's not because I love Charlie Pride and John Denver, though I do. It's because the last hope is we free America, we free the world. And when I went to that rally all those years ago, I got into an argument. It's all on camera, it's all on film. And I called a hardcore Zionist Jew. I said, you are a racist Jew with a religion of homicide, hate, and ethnic cleansing. And to cut a very long story short, the police raided me umpteen times. They watched all my stuff and they said I was a genius. But could I please shut my mouth? And I said, no, let's go to trial, baby. And they locked me up for 3 years, tried to kill me in jail, and you've never heard of me. And here I am today. Biggest espionage case in history. To cut it short, America, Israel runs all your critical infrastructure, your programmable logic chips, your industrial controller chips, your electrical grids, your water, your power, your sewage, your banks, your ATM machines. Nobody talks about it, but we are right here.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, yeah, I have the American flag behind me and I'm with you. And I think people often characterize the rah-rah as, oh, you're a dipshit eating up the prop. I'm very aware of the evil deeds and the nefarious deeds. I look at it like statistically. You ever seen those videos where those dudes like go into the woods and they're all staged, but it's like, I'm going to build a house out of nothing. They literally start with like, first I get a stick and turn that into a blade, and then I dig with, and then I make a bowl out of clay and then use on and on. That's in general kind of how I look at life on Earth. I'm like, that's what we are. That's the baseline. And so when I'm in a room with a blanket and air conditioning and a light, I look at that as like, I'm extremely grateful. So when I look at the United States for all of its flaws, and I look at the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, I look at the size of its military, and then I also look at just geographics, just two oceans, ton of natural resources. We're never going to roll the dice again in this chaos thing where it starts in the woods with a stick to where the best spot in the world, the impregnable fortress, is also the one that at least makes a fighting attempt at personal rights. That's how I look at it. Is like we're playing blackjack. It's like hit me. It's like don't. What are you doing? Like what are you doing? And so I'm in agreement with you on that. And it's also I think it's becoming glaringly apparent that we do what Israel wants. And I say that as someone who I'm a conspiracy guy through and through. I didn't go to prom. I was reading Legacy of Ashes by Tim Weiner. Like love all this stuff. And up until probably 2 years ago, I would just dismiss people that were like, it's the Jews. I'd be like, dude, that's so lowbrow. Like, shut the fuck. I'm like, there's real conspiracies, but it's also the bell curve. The last 2 years have really, it's in your face. And you're like, this is not, replace the name Israel with just, you know, country stand. You would look at the last 2 years and go, it seems like we're beholden to that country. Now you're not allowed to say it, right? Because you either sound like an idiot or you sound like a Nazi. But it's pretty apparent that we are not in the driver's seat of our own country. And purely from looking at it as a game, I think Joe Kent said this, and I had him on my show. He was like, fuck Israel, but he was like, as an intelligence guy, he's like, I respect the game.
You had Joe Kent on your show.
I've
Joe
known him
Kent.
since 2020, yeah, and yeah,
Could you ask him? Could you ask him why we gave him all that information? And we friends went to his house. I've got photos of them standing next to him,
where
and
who?
he's got all the data. He knows who I am, all the data. And as far as we're aware, there's been nothing,
But
absolutely nothing.
could you clarify that? I'm no,
We have
I'm confused at what you
now.
just
You
said.
know what? Why don't we go back to it? I'm just like, whoa. You know Joe Kent? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the hell? Green Beret Joe. That Joe Kent?
Yeah, well, I reached out to him in like 2021 because I saw he was running for Congress, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I had just been banned from YouTube. Just January 6th was a couple months prior. I'm watching all the COVID shit, and I'm like, this is fucked. And I'm like, I felt like I was like, I need to do something other than just yell at a camera. So I just started interviewing him and trying to help him get into office. And I'm a tiny drop in the bucket. I don't think I helped him a whole lot, but yeah, no, I've known him for several years.
Well, he's still working for the government. Green Berets, counterinsurgency, psych warfare, all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Semi-bird. Oh yeah, I can tell you a lot of stuff. It's a shame you haven't. Look, I don't want to get distracted, but here's my UN refugee document. Not that I'm fond of the UN. It's 1,018 pages. And when people read it or read the index at least, because the electronic version, you can just click on the index. It's my pride and joy. I created that in 2019. You will go, this is a movie. This is a movie. And you're going to go, how have I never heard of you? Well, that's a good question. I've been approached by highest level, Heritage Foundation. Bannon knows who I am. Jones knows who I am. Joe Rogan knows who I am. Candace Owens now knows who I am. They all know who I am. Tucker Carlson knows who I am. And it's all mum. And Joe Kent knows who I am. Tulsi Gabbard knows who I am. We've ambushed her in 2019 on this very issue. So I'm going to hand it back to you. But I urge people, you've never heard of me. And you're going to have people come at you and say, he's mad, he's insane. That's what they pushed. I'm an Australian currently in Mexico. And I urge you, I will give you the link to please download my document and just flick through the index.
sure.
All right. And please, let's get back to Joe Kent later on, but please keep going. Sorry, I'm just like, whoa,
No,
whoa,
dude,
whoa,
this
whoa,
is how
whoa.
this is how the
You
show
know Joe
goes.
Kent.
No, this is how
You
the
know
show
Joe
goes.
Kent. That's
Yeah,
what I'm just let me absorb this a bit.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All
Well,
right. Let's move on.
yeah. No, I know, and I do know, but I was gonna say I know him in the same way. Like I've interviewed Dr. McCullough probably like 50 times, Dr. Malone like 100 times. So,
Look,
and
you're connected when you're the head of counterterrorism for the whole
oh,
nation.
of
Okay.
course, of
You're
course.
connected.
But yeah, and so and then one thing I've done over the years because I did have some crazy fucking guests was my thing was always like, hey, I have one rule, like we can't incite violence, and my other thing was like you can't talk about other guests if they're not here to defend themselves, and I've had to amend that rule in the last couple of years because I've had some huge guests on. I've had on General Flynn, I've had on Roseanne Barr, and I'm like, I don't know General Flynn, I've interviewed him I think twice, but I had on Roseanne Barr, and like at a certain point I go, those are public figures. So let's say I had you on, and let's say nobody knew who you were, and let's say I had a guest on tomorrow, and they're like, dude, that Brendon O'Connell guy's a fucking bitch. I'd be like,
Oh,
hey,
you're going to get it. You're going to be contacted by
that's
perhaps hundreds of people, but that's great. But
no,
they
no,
never
that's
want to
it.
talk about me. Say, why haven't you talked about him before then if you know so much about him?
So that's my
Watch.
point. Is like normally with guests, my whole thing is like you just can't talk. That's my whole thing. It's because
Yeah.
I just look at it as me. I'm like, this podcast is my business. I'm like, I don't
Well, if
want.
it's gossip, if it's idle gossip,
Yeah,
then no.
that's so
But if
that's the
you're,
only. So if
but
you ever
listen,
see me,
if you're the head of counterterrorism for the whole nation, you
no,
are a
you're
public
a public
figure.
figure. No, you're a public figure. I've had on Charlie Duke, Apollo 16 astronaut. That's a public figure, and so you're free to talk about Joe Kent. Again, in the past with other guests, would be like, hey, you can't talk shit about this person. That's for this is I accept Dr. Malone, inventor of the mRNA vaccine. These are public figures, and so no, you're
So I
free.
can't tell you
No, you're
Candace Owens likes. I can't tell you Candace Owens likes white girls. I can't say that.
Candace Owen likes white girls.
Yeah.
Hell, so do I. I don't give a fuck. I don't give- Good for her. I don't care. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. I
Oh no,
don't.
she likes them a lot. But anyway, I'm sorry, I was making a
Yeah,
joke.
dude.
We
I
can
do,
cut it
dude. Take
out.
it in whatever direction you want. I don't. I don't care. I
All
don't. I
right.
don't. The one ironclad law is like you can't incite violence because then that just leads to the
All right. Look, I
mass.
can do that at times, but I want to do it in the context of your own President Kennedy's talked about it. Your whole nation is built on the ability to arm yourself and defend yourself from government. And I'm sorry, after COVID, where they were literally forcing people into a dangerous vaccine, I'm not going to incite violence, but let me tell you, what are they expecting?
Yeah.
What are they after COVID? I mean, after 9/11, but after COVID? So I get it. I understand what you're saying, but also
Yeah.
remember, you have a country whereby people can talk about unless they actually, and I understand what you're doing. I do understand. It's about social media, all that stuff. But at some stage, if these people don't know how angry are, that's why we focus on the military. If there is violence that is going to happen, I want a professional. I don't want a
Sure.
half-wit walking out. I'm just saying.
Sure.
But my view is, excuse me, like what they did to me. I'm dead. I don't like police anymore. Don't get me wrong. I've met good coppers. My old man was a cop.
Sure.
I wanted to be a cop. But my view on police is you're a piece of garbage till you prove otherwise. And I'm pro police all the way. But after what I experienced in a highly modern Western democracy, what I found out after years in jail, what I found out after being in jail with Roger Reeves, you probably don't know this. Roger Reeves is the biggest and original transporter for the Medellin cartel. He was in for a ton of
Oh
cocaine.
shit.
Oh, do you want? We can talk about
Go
that.
for it, man. There's
That's Roger Reeves' boss. That who's introduced Roger Reeves to Pablo Escobar and Jorge Ochoa. I got his book published.
holy shit.
Oh, it's. I start losing my mind because it's like it wasn't just one thing that happened. Man, I was getting involved in all sorts of stuff, and of course, because a lot of people said you got to be military, you got to be SAS Commando Regiment. So all these SOCOM and JSOC are contacting me. Not just that, General Milley's head lawyer had his sister in my bed. General Milley's head JAG. He's now the head JAG for the comptroller. He advises directly the comptroller in the Pentagon. Now you're going to say, what the hell? I am a former registered nurse. That's it. Do we know a lot of special forces people and military? Yes, it's Perth, Western Australia. It's got a giant naval base and it's the home of the Special Air Service. So yes, guess what? I happen to know a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got to shut up. Sorry, the caffeine.
No, dude, stop. Don't stop
I just had
apologizing.
4 cups.
Stop apologizing. No, I know. It's because so I went and peaceful. I actually did peaceful. Thank God I recorded. I went and recorded January 6th, having no idea what was going to happen. Naturally, the FBI visited my house. And luckily for me, I filmed the whole thing, which also means I filmed my innocence. But then they started looking at my podcast. And the reason why I have to clarify the violence thing now is because they as they described to me, threat is capability times intent. And so me,
Yes.
I'm like capability. I'm like, dude, I have a biology degree. At the time, I was doing it above my parents' garage, and they were like, not that. And they started listening. They started listing the Delta Force guys I had on, the CIA paramilitary, and things they were saying about what should happen. And I went, that's a fair point. Not that I disagree with like it's a tyrannical government. I looked at it as like, so at the time I'm 30 years old, working at a liquor store, living above my parents' garage, and I have to spend every penny I've ever made in my life on a lawyer. I went, okay. So for me, again, the inciting violence thing is like, this pays my rent. Like I can't be fucking kicked out on the street. That being said, no, I completely get what you're saying, man. And it's also COVID for me was truly eye opening, and I thought I had been pretty well read on the machinations of the evil elite, but interviewing these doctors in 2020 and 2021, and truly not have I didn't have an agenda. I legitimately didn't care. We can look back at it in hindsight. I didn't fucking know. I was like, man, some of these doctors are saying this vaccine's like not safe, and people started going crazy. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm a pre-med guy. I'm not anti-vax. And as I just kept interviewing higher and higher up doctors, with bigger and bigger titles, and they would all be saying like this, I've never seen anything like this. Like this is awful. And it wasn't like an opinion thing of like McDonald's is bad for you. It's like, yeah, all right, then just don't eat McDonald's. As you were saying, people are going, hey, you're gonna lose your job if you don't take this shot. And I'm 35 and I'd interviewed people my age, athletes, former college athletes who are in wheelchairs. They're talking to me on the podcast, they're slurring words because they've had strokes. And it's like, this is evil. Wait, hold on. This is evil.
Thank you.
This isn't a,
Evil.
this isn't
This
a,
is next level.
this
Next
isn't a,
level.
this isn't a pet issue. Save the whales. And you're like, fuck off. Or I'm a vegan. It's like, hey, God bless, but that's not for me. I like meat. This was, and then it goes further. And it's like, there are toddlers having heart attacks. And you're like, okay, okay. Like, what the fuck? And doing these shows, being booted off YouTube, having to put it on Rumble for 5 years before I got back on YouTube, and seeing the enforcement mechanism of it, that's when I realized I was like, they're doing this in a country where people have guns. They're giving toddlers heart attacks. Wow. I wonder what they'll do if we don't have guns. So I'm with you. The eye
Well,
opening.
Ask
There
Australians
you
what
go.
they did.
The
Ask
British.
Australians.
I go to the UK. I have
Yeah,
friends that
look,
watch the show and they're like, I can't comment on your video because I'll get visited. I'm like, dude.
yeah, but that's good. But that's good too. People have got to get arrested. I did a 79-day hunger strike. That's how a friend knew Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who's hopefully going to be the new president of Iran. And he said to me personally, via Press TV, via Mark Glenn, you are welcome in Iran with open arms. That's why I ended up in Iran after I got
Wow.
out of jail. But what I'm trying to say is, you want to know how to completely disrupt the system peacefully? People have got to stop afraid of being arrested and just clog the whole prison system, go on a hunger strike. That's the end of them. They can't
Yeah.
handle it. So
Yeah.
we could talk about so many different subjects if you want, but all I'm saying is
Take it in any
I,
direction you
I
want, man.
get it with the violence, but at the same time, they need to know what I want is if violence is necessary, and maybe it is, I want professionals. You have at least what, 100,000 retired former special forces, at
Yeah.
least, generally patriots, generally well informed. If violence were to take place, can we just leave it to the professionals, please? That's
Yeah.
all I ask.
Yeah.
We can leave it at that.
Yeah. You don't want me going out there. You don't want me going
Yeah,
out
or
there.
Billy Bob, he's done some room clearing down at
Yeah.
Valhalla.
No, I'm with you. And if you don't if it's not done correctly, we'll have the opposite effect, right? The state will just come in with crushing power and people would welcome it because they're like, yeah, we don't need Billy Bob with a sawed off.
Yeah,
It's
and maybe try politics instead of going from the couch, Twinkies, and watching YouTube videos to violence. How about you try engaging in politics? And I hope we can talk about what we have achieved is just a loose affiliation of people. We've got Mary Silver running for Congress in Seattle as a Republican. Lee Levino, you may not have heard of, but he's been ambushing Bannon, Corey Mills, Charlie Kirk right in front of him saying, hey, did you know Russia's completely infiltrated Israel and completely all through our country? And we need to talk about Russia and Putin, his origins, instead of saying, oh, Putin's a wonderful person. Oh, come on. He's been friends with Klaus Schwab for over 30 years. Kissinger was his mentor, the ultimate globalist who wants to kill us all. And you think Vladimir Putin is your friend? You think there's no Russiagate? Yes, the Steele dossier was garbage, but not the Mueller report. Control F the Mueller report, type in Israel. And you trying to tell me there's no Russia collusion? Come on. Let's use our brains.
I'm with you. Like the Russia gate was like, yeah, that seems like horseshit. And then on the other side, I'm like, I have no illusions about like they're just teddy bears, you know? Like I don't think that they're the boogeyman behind my door. I also know that they were toe to toe with us for 45 years, and every minute we were 4 minutes away from a nuclear launch. I have no, you know, when people are like, China this, China that, I'm like, okay, they are, they aren't X, Y, and Z. Don't think for a fucking second though that, it's like China's building bases around the world. We have to stop them. It's like, yeah, because that's our job. It's the George Carlin vote, right? When's the last time the United States bombed white people? The Germans. Why? The Germans said we're going to take over the world. Bullshit. That's our fucking job. Like, I also don't, well, maybe I'm an idiot. I have no illusions about the rest of the world. It's human nature. There will always be a hegemon. Go back to your saying. Do you say Russia infiltrated Israel or Israel infiltrated Russia?
No, the Soviet Union created Israel. Who was the first to be pro-Israel in the UN? Joseph Stalin.
Okay.
The greatest number of emigres to Israel. This is how it became a cyber technology powerhouse. There are no Moroccan Jews. There are no Iraqi Jews. There are no Syrian Jews. There are no brown-skinned Jews. There are no Yemeni Jews who are running the high-tech industry. They're all blonde-haired, blue-eyed Russians and Ukrainians. And they all came from the Soviet Union. And over half of them don't even qualify as Jewish. Ehud Barak is in the Epstein files, emailing backwards and forwards. We're desperately trying to get as many Russians in to run our high-tech industry. Aeronautical engineers, missile technicians, electrical engineers. All right, and there's over 1 million of them. Lily Galili wrote a book called the Million That Changed the Middle East, and they've taken over everything: politics. Do you know the Intel, not just a fabrication factory worth billions and billions of dollars, which I might add Iran never touched, billions and billions of dollars. All right, it's not just a fabrication facility; it's the head research and development fabrication facility since 2006.
Which facility?
It's called Petkiva, Israel. It's a big industrial park.
It's
in Israel.
Like a TSMC type thing.
Oh God, it's Intel. They had been designing their top chips starting with the Core 2 Duo in 2006. Everyone goes, it's American. I hate to break it to you, America. Your head Intel research and design has been in Israel, literally in Israel since 2006. Yeah. We started the whole CHIPS Act thing. We did. A group of nobodies. When we said, hello, why did you put Taiwan Semiconductor 100 miles off the coast of China? It's not. Taiwan Semiconductor is an American company with American patents. Heinz Kissinger shipped all of that to 100 miles off China, and he's been building up China since the 70s. Why is that? Because they were ready to transfer the technology directly into China. And there's Heinz Kissinger in 2017 in South Korea going, we are shifting the center of gravity from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Get used to it. Do people understand what he's saying? We've got it all recorded. It's in some of my best videos, A Family Civil War, and you see Kissinger just saying how it's going to be. 2017. And where's Kissinger at the same time? He's in the White House with Donald Trump. Donald Trump's doing his little hand signals. And who else is there? Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, just after they sacked James Comey. Now, do you want some Russia collusion, ladies and gentlemen? Would you like some? And look, I'm all for what's happening right now geopolitically, and I'll tell you why. Geopolitically, things are going wonderfully. Don't you believe it? I was in Iran, and I saw what Iran was, and it's a fraud. It's been working with the globalists, City of London, German and French banks from day dot. And when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad got in and started calling out the corruption of the clerics, started saying we need to do humanitarian work with the Houthis and less weapons. When he said we need to get rid of Assad, he's an absolute criminal, I don't want to support him. What'd they do with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad? They booted him and he was never allowed to enter politics again. And they would have killed him. This is a hardcore. But he said, we can't beat them. We can't beat America. They're going to slaughter us. And the others, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because they work for Rothschild. And people won't believe it until I give you information such as, did you know Rouhani is running backwards and forwards to Scotland to do his Sharia law PhD? It's on video, baby. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And there he is, and I'm publicizing this in 2017, couldn't get a peep out of anyone. Nobody would touch it, not a single soul. And he's hanging with Jack Straw and Lord Levi. 1 degree of separation with Lord Jacob Rothschild himself. And there's Zarif, his foreign minister, and he's in Chatham House every 3 minutes. He's best friends with John Kerry, and his 3 kids are all US citizens. He's been 30 years in America. You've seen all the stuff, all these stunning supermodel Persians, all related to Qasem Soleimani, the general, all related to high government officials, and they're all living in Europe, and they're all living in America with green cards. Hello? Hello? Anybody? Anybody? You want to know how deep this goes? I'm 100% referenced videos, documents, you name it. It's like when you tell someone Vladimir Putin is not fighting the Jews. Vladimir Putin has been working with them from day dot. He was put in power under Yevgeny Primakov, the Russian. First, he was a foreign minister, then he was the head of the SVR, the Foreign Intelligence Service, and a hardcore communist. And he wanted to run. And he was so unpopular, he thought, we need to put someone in to protect our boy Yeltsin. You know, the guy that gave all the Russian oligarchs, Jewish oligarchs, and they all put their bank accounts in London? Yeltsin, we got to protect this asset. I know, we'll put in our golden boy, Vladimir Putin. And there's Kissinger, his mentor. His other mentor is Yevgeny Primakov, the communist, the hardcore communist. And they're sticking Vladimir Putin in, blowing up buildings, blaming it on the Chechens. And you try telling people, but in 2007, he got Deripaska and he waggled his finger and said, you're robbing the people. Give me my pen back. And it was a big show, 2007. And I believed it. I was a huge Putin groupie. I was joining the Russian Orthodox Christian Church, had enough of the Catholics, they're too corrupt. Then you get there and realize the Russian Orthodox is so corrupt. Drug trafficking, drug money laundering. The patriarch Kirill Gundiev is his real name. He's a former KGB asset. He's running all the vodka taxes, the tobacco taxes, the oil taxes, and is a multi-billionaire, lives in his Moscow apartment, sues everyone and loves horse racing and wears a $30,000 Swiss Bugatti watch. And you try to tell people and they just look at you with a blank slate. The Vatican runs everything. I said, then why is Italy broke? Why is the Vatican, Pope Leo, running around America begging for money because they're so broke? But I know other places that are booming, and Russia was booming at one stage too, I might add, particularly St. Petersburg and Moscow. So come on, everybody. I'll challenge anyone, anytime. I will send you PDFs, clickable links, and after this you'll go, how the hell have they gotten away with this? How? Because Israel is running all your computer systems, your CIA, your DIA, your NSA, all the 3-letter acronyms. They're in the Pentagon. They core code Microsoft Windows. Yes, not only are they designing your top-end chips, and in 2018, Intel was king of the bunch, not only are they running your top-end chips, not only are they making them, not only are they designing them in Israel, and people don't believe it. Okay, look up an industry mag, you'll find it like
Unit
this.
8200.
Oh, that's the decoy. Okay, it's the Talpiot program, TALPIOT. Okay, a good old Akamai. You probably don't even know what that is. Akamai distributes the internet load, and it was designed by a Talpiot program graduate named Daniel Lewin. He did the 10-year program, probably Unit 8200 as well. He was the first man to die on 9/11. This is one of the most important companies on the internet. They distribute the load all around the world. That's Israeli. It was co-developed with MIT. Daniel Lewin went through the highest level Israeli-run program. The US also has a program. That's what Snowden was going through. Why was the rat Snowden doing special forces training? Hello? Hello. He was 120 pounds, a wet rag. But he's doing special forces training. That's the US version of the Talpiot program. They put you through the Navy, they put you through the Air Force, they put you through the armed forces, the ground pounders. And you've got to get a taste of every single armed forces section. And then you go on to develop your high technology skills. And that's why the US dominates. The trouble is, The Israelis aren't just over there doing this stuff, which is bad enough. They're also 10,000 of them deeply penetrated into the US system. And if you can tell me why it is, no one seems to want to talk about the power grid being totally controlled by one Israeli company. And they're even here in Querétaro. They've just pulled in. That's why my power keeps going out. They're called Radcom or Rad Group. Zohar Zisapel and his brother Yehud Zisapel. Zisapel. They both died recently, about 2 years ago. These guys created a company, 20, 25 sub-companies. Industrial controller chips, programmable logic chips. They run your sewage, your water, your factory, remote factory of all kinds, from milking cows to highest of high tech. They run the electrical grids, nearly all of them. Government VoIP encryption, ATMs, banking front end, banking rear end. It's an Israeli company, ladies and gentlemen. Tucker ain't going to tell you. Candace Owens ain't going to tell you. But you know who does know about it? Joe Kent. You know who does know about it? Tulsi Gabbard. And they haven't fixed a damn thing. You know what they're doing now? They're covering it up and they call it Pax Silica, run by a closet gay guy out of France who's married to one of these top-level people. I've forgotten his name. Because apparently you've got to be gay and in technology to get any jobs in the Trump administration. And he's also a good friend of Chabad Lubavitch, for crying out loud. Oh, what's his name? Hellberg. Jacob Hellberg. And he's running around now, and now it's fully legislated, not just partially legislated as it was previously over 20 years ago, the US-Israel Energy Act. Now under Pax Silicon, you will have Israeli programmable logic chips and industrial controller chips all through your infrastructure. That's Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, the Netherlands. The EU's told them to go to hell. Well, why wouldn't they? Not that I love the EU, because this is the war that's going on. So there's Candace, boo the Jews. There's Tucker Carlson. He's up on a stage at the World Wrestling Federation, Ari Emanuel, Charlie Kirk Memorial, going, boo the Jews. The Jews killed Jesus and they killed Charlie Kirk too. Paraphrasing. That's literally what he said. With his crazy hyena laugh. But Tucker can't tell you who did 9/11. He says, if only the CIA will release the files. But they all hate the Jews. They're all saying very things that would have got you banned instantly. Now suddenly it's all over YouTube. But they won't tell me who did 9/11. They won't even give me the Carl Cameron Fox News version from 2001. They won't even give me that version. They won't talk about Variant, Converse Infosys, all the database companies, which Carl Cameron gave us in 2001. It's brilliant. Tucker Carlson wasn't even close to that. So we should know what Tucker Carlson is. But we have now the greatest espionage case in history. You're being told by a former registered nurse from Australia, and you're going, what the hell are you going on about? Because Tucker would have told me. Alex Jones would have told me. Oh, but surely Megyn Kelly would have told me. Wouldn't someone tell me? Nobody's saying a damn word. You can read it under the National Defense Authorization Act. Right there in front of everyone. So I'm going to shut up.
No.
And if anyone doubts me, I'll go toe to toe with anyone, and I guarantee you not a soul's going to dare come toe to toe. And Mary Silver, congressional candidate, knows Joe Kent, knows Green Beret, Sammy Bird, certain other people, photos of them with Joe Kent, handing him all the material way back in 2003, when he was running in Washington State. Mary was up there. She gets up in front of 300 top-level Republicans on recording and says, what I'm telling you now. What have they done about it? Nada. Nothing. Zero.
I was going to say, I don't have any illusions about Tucker would have told me. I think a lot of people
the biggest fraud.
I know. I think the older generation, my generation and younger, no one's. It's a meme.
Believe his numbers. I don't believe his numbers. I believe his numbers, if they're real, are all overseas stuff. He's hanging out in British-dominated Qatar, the home of the globalists. He's over there. He's not buying apartments. He's buying apartment blocks. He's got 27 permanent staff. 27. He's just twanging. Oh, I'm just fly fishing, just like Dick Cheney. I'd say that was a sub-Rosa message. I'm fly fishing, just one of the boys. Just a, humble working class man. Whoa, I'm a working class man. What the hell, boy? You got 27 permanent staff. Literally 27 permanent staff. I thought it was 5. No, he's got 5 core members, including Don Jr., so work that one out. Rebecca Mercer, Cambridge Analytica, SCL Group, and freaking NATO. So if you want to untangle that little web of intrigue with little Tucker, with that little face he puts on, I don't, what's going on? He is the absolute enemy of the United States of America, that guy. And that guy's going to end up running to Qatar or even Israel. Don't laugh. You're flying around on private jets with 27 permanent staff, half of which came with him from Fox News. Rupert Murdoch is best friends with Heinz Kissinger, for crying out loud. Someone please, what? Soros. Well, guess who's good friends with George Soros? Heinz Kissinger. Why does no one say Heinz Kissinger's name? Why is that?
The point I was making about Tucker was, I think with my generation, it's more of it's a meme, right? The whole, oh, I would have heard about it on the news. And having done this podcast for 6 years, 4 months, yeah, no, I had no part of me. 5 years ago, I might have been like, why am I hearing this from a nurse? Now I don't even blink. I'm like, yeah, this is how I would hear it. Yeah, no, this podcast has definitely destroyed any illusion I have of whatever image I have or idea or model of the world is wildly off. And I want to say what you said about, Russian Orthodox and Catholicism, and what I've found personally, and I think it's kind of a microcosm that you can then apply to the world at large, is, if you want to talk to God, like, you got to go directly. You don't go through these corrupt institutions. And same thing, if I want to build this podcast, you got to go through it on your own. No one's going to do it for you. And that has changed how I then look at the world. I'm like, no one's going to tell me the truth. Why would they? Whose benefit is it to be honest? And you could say it's cynical. I think it's just more pragmatic to go, yeah, the image. I'll say this. There's a great meme that's like, when you look back in like 2021 and 2022, and you realize just how much horseshit everything they said about COVID was, you have to start to wonder, they lied like that with the internet and the camera to disprove them. Do you think history is true? And it does. You start to go, there's no way it's true. There's no way our understanding of history is true. If they'll lie to your face in front of you when they can be debunked in minutes, what do you think they'll do if it's just
Oh, hello, 30-06 to the neck,
precisely? But they would look at
150
that,
yards.
yeah, and we look back and we're like, yeah, but Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I look back at it and I'm like, it's probably entirely horseshit, which then would lead you to say our understanding of the current world must be entirely horseshit. So I'm saying all that to
Yeah,
say,
but be careful with that too, because as a famous CIA director says, when nobody believes
was it
anything,
William
we win
Casey,
again.
yeah, no, fair enough.
Win again.
Yeah.
But we can use common sense. I watched a funny thing happen on the way to the moon in 2003, 23 years ago, and it was so compelling. And I just went, whoa, we didn't go to the moon. And I'm not stupid. I love technology, but it was just so compelling. And then over time, by 2007, I realized, no, it's crap. They've got some things right. There's definitely something sus about the press conference 3 days post moon return.
That was weird.
That's if I didn't have that, I'd say, of course, we went to the moon the first time. But I believe they may have faked the first moon one. But
That
we've
looked
definitely
like a
been to the moon.
hostage video.
Yeah, that was like, sorry, they're back 3 days. They've rested, and if you want to, forget about I never saw any stars, and I'm an amateur photographer. All right, it's all explainable. Everything's explainable. However, I cannot get past that.
Yeah.
Post, I just went. I think my theory is personally is that they didn't go the first time, and that's why Neil Armstrong dropped off the thing and didn't want to talk about it. But because they were worried about things working. But definitely, look, we've been to the moon. Okay, people, we have been to the moon. Just there's 500 reasons why we've been to the moon. But I understand why people question everything.
Sure.
But just be very careful. Please be very careful.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no good explanation for that press conference. The
It
explanations
still
are
haunts me.
the explanation is either they have a barrel to your kid's head, or the other explanation is we did go and they saw some fucking alien craft.
Something like that.
No answer is like, no answer is appealing, right? But what you said about being careful, and I say that all the time on this podcast, is you do have to be. I always tell people, go down the rabbit hole, but go down with a rope, rappel down. Don't do a swan dive into the abyss, because very quickly you're going to be going, it's a hollow earth and the Jews are lizards and they're fighting without, and very quickly you're going to lose grasp of
Oh, dude, now
anything.
you're losing all credibility. How can the flat Earth be hollow?
Well,
Come
see,
on,
you
dude.
haven't expanded your consciousness. See that's 70 consciousness. See, it's, but see what I mean? Is it if fucking it just you go off into the ether, and not only do you sound like an idiot, but you're also helping the power elite by you are discrediting everything. So I'm with you.
Yeah,
You
someone,
have to,
someone's doing their masters at a psych warfare school. That's what it is.
yeah,
Someone's
yeah,
doing their masters.
yeah. So
Come
no,
on,
I'm
man.
with you. You got to be careful. You gotta go down slowly. But it's but back to what you're saying. No, I'm not surprised at all to hear this from you. Like, who would I hear it from? It's like Google wouldn't lie to me.
Well, there is a little backstory how I found out all this stuff. Now,
Sure.
Perth, Western Australia is not just kangaroos and deadly koala bears. It's a high-tech paradise. It's where they hide all their protected witnesses. It's where Virginia Giuffre,
Isn't
Epstein,
Pine Gap?
that's up in the Northern Territory. That's
Okay.
in the middle of the Great Sandy Desert. But yeah, there's Pine Gap. There's also the more intriguing one, Harold Holt Base on the Northwest Cape. That's those giant 300-meter high towers to do with HARP, which is supposedly to send ultra low frequency. I mean, this will get the
So,
audience. They love this stuff. Ultra low frequency waves to tell the nuke
new
submarines to come
submarines
up.
to come.
Yeah.
I'm reading Raven Rock right now, all about continuity of government. I love that book so much. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, who's that? Who wrote
Raven
that?
Rock, the book Raven Rock. Raven Rock's a mountain complex. The name of the book is Raven Rock by Garrett
Oh,
Graff.
okay.
This is probably my 10th listen through.
Is it
It's
audio? Because I
yeah.
wanted to join the Marines and I only listen to audiobooks.
I will not have on an author. I'm like, dude, you have to send me an audiobook because I'm not reading your fucking book.
Yeah.
Dude, Raven Rock. It's
All
the other
right, I'll check it out.
ELF is all these. Yeah, I'll make a note of it right now
Yeah,
to
because
send to you.
I love this stuff. I love
Dude,
technology.
it is. Literally I've listened to it probably 10 times through. It is, yeah, ELF, the whole, all of
Oh, so
the shit.
is
Yeah.
this fiction? Is this fiction dressed up with facts or it's fact?
Oh no, it's all factual. It goes up until about the 90s, and
Oh,
that's when
wow. Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's the most recent declassified stuff. It's
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, it's sick. I'll make it.
Well, that Harold Holt base, as you may know, Harold Holt was, you may not know, it was an Australian Prime Minister, a very, probably a quasi-communist. But he, like Gough Whitlam, our other 73 Prime Minister, 1973, the Governor General fired him. And you might remember in that great video, The Falcon and the Snowden, and I'm not being funny, The Falcon and the Snowman. Look, they always have a sense of humor. Snowden was with Kissinger's crew. That's how he managed to. Anyway, that's another story. We'll talk about Snowden. I've got a lot of views on Snowden.
I think that was an op.
Oh, yeah, but it wasn't a US-based op. This was a globalist, the City of London, Council on Foreign Relations, Heinz Kissinger. That's how he got through. Oh, we misspelled his name. That's how he got through. That's how he got through Hong Kong security, and we couldn't.
Yeah, fuck
And
off.
then he's going to Russia before he goes to Ecuador. I'll give it a rest, dude. Ecuador, you'll be dead in 5 seconds. You're in US territory, baby. He goes to Russia, and Snowden's been. I mean, Assange has been working with the KGB since the early '90s. Pengo was his East German Stasi contact. He ended up dead in a black forest, burnt to death with his head half cut off. People don't even know this basic history of Snowden. Look, Assange is an idiot. Snowden is an absolute fraud. And he didn't, well, the point is this, he didn't do that because he loved freedom. He did that because his job was to start bringing down the United States as they moved into the Kissinger multipolar world order. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to have to watch my videos or look it up or use AI. Multipolar world order. It wasn't invented by Marco Rubio. It's a Kissinger City of London program. They wanted to divvy up the United States. Russia, it would be German and French high technology combined with Russian raw resources combined with Chinese manufacturing. That's why I like all your best drones. They're not Chinese. They're not even Chinese designed. They're just manufactured there. That's German. They're German companies. DJI is a German company. That's why they all use Leica lenses and they're all using Hasselblad in the latest
That's what,
DJI
yeah.
Pro 4. All right, they're German companies. China is nothing. It is a slave labor camp manufacturing base where they can test stuff, take people's organs, test viruses. It's all globalist. Fauci isn't a pan-American nationalist. He's a globalist. He works for the City of London. If you want to get into it, International Trotskyite, Frankfurt School. They're all up there in the school, Chicago School of Economics. And who's Irving Kristol, the Trotskyite Jew who found his conservative roots? His son, Bill Kristol, who's Bill Kristol friends with? Best friends. Roger Stone. Who's Roger Stone's best friends with Broward County Sheriff Chabad Lubavitch, Sheriff Israel. They're all drug trafficking, growth hormone, steroids, ecstasy, meth, cocaine. That's Roger Stone, who's also best friends with General Jim Jones and his son Jim Jones, the head of Denology and Clear Force, who started the whole IIA operations in America. Patrick Berge, Shadowgate. Those are the links you can follow into this whole scene. It's all K. Griggs, drug trafficking, secondary weapons sales, bikie gangs, organized crime, City of London, Israel, drug money laundering on Wall Street. It's been going on forever, since the 70s at least.
No,
There's Roger Stone, Donald Trump's best friend.
do what?
But Donald Trump's best friend.
Who?
No, Donald Trump. Roger Stone.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
Yeah.
So what's the big picture now? If you just had to,
All right, here's the positive. You want some positive?
if you have to zoom all the way out and give me an elevator
All right.
pitch,
And I love this because when you get up close, it's tactical, it's messy, it's a bar
you
fight.
can forget where the fuck you are. You're like, which way's up with that? You gotta where are we?
And your audience is probably going, what the hell?
No. My audience has been cold by now that they are the hardcores. They are with us.
All right.
For
Then
better
they're
or
gonna love
worse.
it.
For better or worse, they're in the padded room with us.
All right. I would vote for Donald Trump, not because he runs anything. Donald Trump has been an Army intelligence asset and an FBI asset for well over 40 years, as has Roger Stone, as has Alex Jones. It's a group. And where will you find linking all these people? Ari Emanuel, an Israeli intel asset. He runs the UFC. He runs the World Wrestling Federation, Endeavor Group. Who's his brother? Well, that would be Rahm Emanuel, the former chief of staff for Barack Obama. Wow, how interesting. Who's pushing Kamala Harris? And there's his brother, agent for 20 years, World Wrestling Federation, UFC, Joe Rogan. Are you seeing the pattern, ladies and gentlemen? And their parents were literal Israeli case officers. So let's start right there, shall we? That's pretty interesting. So going back to the big picture, because there's your tactical bar fight.
Yeah.
Big picture, it's going wonderfully. I was in Iran for 3 months. It's a fraud. It's a sex party, drug party. The IRGC deal drugs all day. They don't care about the Yahud, the Jews. Are you kidding? They've been working with Israel from day dot. Day dot. Just because they shake a fist, all right? Look, when you're organized crime, do you run around going how much you love organized crime? No, you run around going, I hate organized crime. Vote for me. I'm the governor. I'm the mayor. Organized crime is bad. And then you find out the mayor's been working with the Gotti family for 30 years.
Yeah.
And you're surprised, but I don't understand. He said he didn't like organized crime. Do we have to get the basics right? The problem with the audience is they're going to say, but somebody would have told me. Who the hell are you? Well, I am telling you. And it's all right there in front of you. You're just not seeing it. It's not getting fed into your feed. If you knew that Rouhani was spending 6 years in Scotland doing his PhD in Sharia law, why would a high Islamic cleric, the president of Iran, be doing his Sharia law degree in a Scottish Rite university? Because he's a Scottish Rite Mason, number one. He's probably considers himself ethnically or hereditarily Jewish. All right, 70,000 Jews from Isfahan, straight out of the Hadiths, out of the Quran. That's why the Sunnis are panicking. And if you actually follow stuff from Shia Islam in Iran, you would see that they hate Arabs, okay? They hate Sunni Islam, and their job is to destroy Saudi and take over Mecca. They're not even interested in Israel. I was there. I said, can we talk about Israel and national security and how they've got into the United States, and then we can break Israel off and get America on side, and then you start trading with America and you start being nationalists, and then American will be nationalists, and you can be Iranian, but they will be American, but we'll all trade and we'll all get along and become nationalist world linked by our nationalist sovereign nations. How about that? Nah, not interested. Saudi, Saudi, Saudi. All day, every day. Oh, don't be mean to the Jews, they would tell me. Don't be mean. It's like, what the hell is going on? The lawyer they assigned to me is a drug addict, off his head on meth half the time, then black tar heroin. Hashish is everywhere. It's sex parties. Everybody hates the Ayatollah. They all want to be Europeans. And that's when I really started to understand the big picture, which is they have their assets everywhere. everywhere. And Donald Trump was one of them under Heinz Kissinger. Hence why Heinz Kissinger, Cambridge Analytica, SCL Group, NATO, Rebecca Mercer, Steve Bannon, who did come good for a while after that, that was the plan to get him in. His job was to, he's a disposable Kodak camera. He's a disposable condom. He comes in, the outsider. He's a narcissist. He loves attention. They just tell him, the king is just so beautiful today, sir. My God, you're a genius. My God. Trump wouldn't know his asshole from his elbow. Okay? Donald Trump is not ordering Admiral What's His Face about where to put the aircraft carriers. He just gets a briefing. They give him a cartoon briefing with a couple of pictures and tell him how much drug money's been put into his meme coins accounts. And that's all he cares about. Are we going to win? Yes. Are you going to make me look good? Yes. Are there going to be high ratings? Yes, Mr. President. That's all he cares about. Just stop it. He's a World Wrestling Federation compere and a very bad reality TV show host. He is not a genius property developer. Okay? They put his name on the top, and via Wall Street, FBI, CIA, counterintelligence, they call over the Russian oligarchs. They invest their drug money in their stuff. Everybody's getting a cut. CIA, DIA, FBI, everyone gets a cut. And then they fill those apartment blocks, which Donald Trump has no financial stuff associated with. They just stick his name on top. And then they fill it with hidden recording devices, microphones, and videos. And that's the scam. Everyone makes a good dollar, and I mean everyone. And they also do a bunch of counterintelligence stuff. And Donald Trump's been doing that for 40 years. He was money laundering in Atlantic City, and he was a moron. Couldn't even run a drug money laundering casino. He's been a cocaine addict, an Adderall addict for 40 years on and off. He may not drink, but he likes the coke. And you see him there with Epstein. Is he a pedophile? 30% chance. I don't think so, but we don't know. It's a long story. I can give you some gossip on that. So once you understand the network, and Kissinger is king, may he rest in peace in hell, allegedly. We never know where he is. He could be in a bottle somewhere, just his head, whatever.
Probably.
The stem cells in the baby's blood does wonders down there in Puerto Rico. But sorry, Costa Rica. But when you actually look, so you're going, but Brendon, he's this and that, but you're telling me to vote for him. Look, number one, you don't have a choice because they run both sides. The intelligence community rules, all right? The Pentagon rules. The IC community is ruling, and they are trying to fix things. They are. I know because they came and told me, and they said these things are handled quietly. Could you please stop being an ass? And I said, give me $3.8 million and let me go home. And that's where my battle's been. I've been approached by highest level people, and we can talk about that later. So yes. Oh, I wish. Yeah.
Fuck.
3.8 million. I said, you got that in your glove box, bro.
You know, people always say they're like, Tommy, you're a fed. I'm like, dude, you would know I'm a fed because I'd fucking have a nicer apartment.
Yeah, that's an Illuminati green screen, bro. You're probably in an underground plush bunker somewhere likely story. But that's part of your cover. That's part of your cover.
I'm not. I wouldn't have my sport drink sponsoring shirt on and my blankie. No, but. So,
but look, whatever, people, you don't know me. You can look stuff up.
That's what I tell everybody. Don't trust me. Never trust me.
Just you don't know, but you can speculate. I don't blame you for speculating. They say you're a little square-jawed, Brendon, but there's my life, 1,018 pages, fully referenced. It's my life, my criminal record, my trial transcripts, everything you can imagine. And it reads like a freaking Hollywood movie. But the point is, you just go, well, I don't know. But does it ring true? Does it ring true? And I think you're going to find, you don't know who's handling you. You don't know who's. Of
course.
You don't know. They've tried to handle me directly. I've got General Milley's Jag, sister in my bed. Dear God, let's not go into that. There's a story. May she, God willing, she'll get married and have some children. Please, Leah, stop. Regardless. Very nice guy.
I always tell people, don't trust me, because even if I'm looking at you and going, I'm telling you the truth. A good asset doesn't know they're an asset. So at some point, either I'm lying to you, or I have no idea that I really. I'm like, I'm just the biggest podcast now. And there's some guys going, this fucking idiot thinks that we didn't boost his. It's so
Well,
my point
that's generally how they do it, and they've
of
been doing it
course
forever.
they don't tell you you're an asset. You just think you're the best.
And
Man,
your credit cards, they've got thousands of fake credit cards. So
I'm
you
just
think, oh,
a
look at all this money, man. And then you say something they don't like. Oh, money goes,
where to go.
yee. And you go, what happened? I better look at my YouTube statistics. Oh, I mentioned that. I don't need to mention that. That'll be fine. I mean, I got to live. I'm on 50 grand a month. I got to live. And you think how much these people are making? I was making 4 or 5 grand a month. I made 7 grand one month, US dollars in Mexico. Then I wouldn't play the game. 3,800. Down it went. Wouldn't play the game. And into my home, well, that's another story. But the big picture is this. Iran has been working for the globalist city of London since day dot. Ayatollah Khamenei comes out of a Paris kibbutz, a commune. That's where he came from. He was in Najaf in Iraq after being expelled by the Shah. Saddam Hussein, another globalist asset, all right, who had a French build his Osirak reactor, sends Ayatollah Khomeini, expels him to France. Why wouldn't you go to swing in France, baby? So he's sitting over there getting his orders. Now, I think he was sincere because he believed he was going to be killed. And you see the footage because a German intelligence film crew followed him over on an Air France flight. This is all Rothschild network. This is all David Evelyn de Rothschild, Lord Jacob. All right, these are the people who run Europe. They're the Hofjuden, the court Jews of Europe. They don't wear kippurs. Gerhard Schroeder's on the Rothschild board. He's best friends with Vladimir Putin, Klaus Schwab, Heinz Kissinger. They're all friends. My dear friend Klaus, Vladimir Putin says. You have this whole network. It's now being dismantled. China, same. It's no sovereign states. You think China? China gets all its stuff from the US and Europe. It can't produce a chip, gets it from ASML in the Netherlands. Who owns all the patents? America. You could argue it probably goes back to the City of London. Who owns all the patents? Taiwan. America. They're all fronts. Heinz Kissinger sent them there. Just as he deindustrialized America and sent it to South Korea and China, so too the high technology sector, which he's sending to different places, including Israel. So you see an Asian guy, and look, they're pretty smart people. These aren't dunces, these are smart people, but all his patents, he trains in the US, and then they take it to their home country. This is distributing the load. They are distributing the economic load. Why would Australia destroy its refining capacity? Which I might add, it's got some of the biggest oil and gas fields in the world. I used to work in mining as well, by the way, exploration. So I know a lot of people from Western Australia, a place people know nothing about. It's filled with intelligence activity, the whole place. Hidden bases over there in the desert, you name it. Off the coast, they test stuff as well. So they distribute the load. So Singapore refines 90% of Australia's refining capacity. Why wouldn't someone go, I think we need to remain a sovereign state and being able to refine our own fuel is a national security issue? No, they don't do it. They've got to distribute the load. And this is how you control sovereign states. So now they're all in big trouble now, aren't they? So when you take out the Straits of the Straits of the Straits of Hormuz, what you're doing is you're taking out a globalist asset who hops up and downs and trim their beards and tell you how much they hate the Jews. The whole time they've been working with Europe the whole time. They live on euros. They don't live on US dollars. They live on euros. Barack Obama is a Council on Foreign Relations stooge for the City of London. John Kerry is. George W. Bush was. George H.W. Bush, that's complicated, H.W. Bush. He hated Israel, so did Dick Cheney. Still evil, but this is where you get complicated. This is where you get complicated. Because there's still a nationalist element within the old Skull and Bones Waspy crew on the East Coast. There's still a nationalist element. And that's who's running the show now with Heritage Foundation and a bunch of Texas billionaires and serving and retired military. That's who's running the show now. It's not Donald Trump. Please stop. So in the big picture, you're seeing the Iranian globalist hangout taken out. Soleimani was working with Israel and America on the record in Iran. They were sent in to destabilize the Arabs, end pan-Arab nationalism, and push Saudi and the UAE into an agreement with the Israelis. How do you do that? They've got the top in the bag, but you're forgetting about the bright young colonels. You're forgetting about the military class, the managerial class, the people in customs border control. These people hate Israel. I mean, hate them with a passion. You've got to get them on board. So MBS, the drug-addicted piece of garbage, pretend Wahhabist, has got to go down and say, look, bros, they're threatening us with a nuclear weapon because the nuclear weapon is being supplied by Israel to Iran, or their equipment is supplied by Israel to Iran through third parties. It's to threaten Saudi. It's not to threaten Israel. And then you'll say, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, isn't the hardliner? Now, that's the guy that said, you're going to blow us to pieces. What are we going to do with a nuclear weapon? We know what you're going to do to us. That was in Colin Powell's emails. He said the boys in Tehran know what's going on. Ahmadinejad knows what we'll do to him. And Ahmadinejad said to him in a meeting, look, what are you going to do with one nuclear weapon? We're going to polish it? You're going to blow us to smithereens. And Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said to the Ayatollah, look, we need to do a deal with the Americans. See, Ahmadinejad, the nukes was leveraged to get more stuff out of the US and the Saudis. He was trying to be friends with the Saudis. He said, we've got to stop this fight. We've got to get together. This is the hardliner. All right? He never jumped up and down, never burned a flag. If you mess with him, he'd just blow up 40 Jews in Hungary and then say, take that. All right? Whether you agree with it or not, he meant business. He didn't mess around. He was an Iranian nationalist. So he said to the Ayatollah, we need to give the Americans something. They're going to slaughter us. All right? Because he's an Iranian nationalist. He's trying to look after his people. He's a realist. And there's the Ayatollah, no. And Ahmadinejad said, what are you doing? Let's swap. We'll get our medical uranium and we'll do a deal with them. Because isn't that logic? We need to keep the youth happy. Our youth demographic is going to riot. Demographics is destiny. He's a civil engineer. He said we need to get out of people's bedrooms. We have to modernize, whether we like it or not. He was a pragmatist, but he's a hardliner. Okay? And then his offsider was complaining to the Ayatollah, the IRGC are dealing drugs, Captogen, crystal methamphetamine, labs are everywhere, black tar heroin, hashish, you name it. They're shipping it all through the Middle East. Why? To get all the Sunnis addicted and create lunacy in the Middle East. ISIS, you created both sides, Shia extremism, Sunni extremism. Oh, who benefits from that? Syria's destroyed. Iraq's destroyed. Amazingly, I'm in Iran. It's party time. There's Lamborghinis, there's Bugattis. It was cheaper than Australia. And I'm going, okay, this is late November 2016, 2017. And I'm going, none of this adds up. I'm talking to government analysts like their version of the CIA. I mean, I'm the boy from the bush and I'm sitting down with Iranian government analysts. I'm in the center of it, man. It's crazy. And I got a drug addicted, closet gay, 6'4" lawyer from Atlanta, Georgia, who went to America when he was 13, named David T. Lashkari, Homayoun T. Lashkari. His sister, Ziba Lashkari's son, is in Swiss banking. They own these giant apartment blocks in North Tehran. They're all friends with the foreign minister who I lived and stayed at Hunza, his hometown. And I'm just going, what is going on? I think I'm in way too deep here. I mean, he's rubbing my back. Oh, you're so stressed. He's taking my photo. Oh, no, another photo. And I'm thinking, is this guy gay? Look, my best friend's gay. Best friend's homosexual. You never know it. And I said, dude, he's like a brother to me. I said, dude, this guy's rubbing my back. He's telling me I'm so stressed. This is freaky. I'm worried. He said, dude, he's gay. He's cracking onto you. And I said, it can't be. It's Iran. He's got this 25-year-old hottie. He's 55 at the time. And she's stunning, supermodel material. And he barely looks at her. Barely acknowledges her. He's all over me. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, animal, vegetable, holiday.
Hey, what are you going to do?
As my mate said, just take it as a compliment, dude. So no, I'm in Iran. I'm not going to wake up naked in his bed with a goat after he's dropped a rowie into my drink. It's getting freaky. I want to get the hell out of here. He's absolutely off his head. I'm talking gay nightclub, crystal methamphetamine off his head. I've got film of it. Then he's so wasted he can barely stand up in the kitchen. And I just saw, I go to get my passport fixed. And I said, you were on drugs last night, dude. Give me my effing passport back. And I threatened him in the street. I just snatched it off him, went back to the thing, and I left and went to a backpackers. And then I just got out of there. And just got that, went back to Kuala Lumpur with $500 in my pocket. And that was my little adventure to Iran. And some Hezbollah people or relatives in Germany got in contact and were laughing at me. And they're going, well, we definitely know you've been to Iran. Because that's what Iran's like. But everyone thinks it's this pious cradle. But there's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad trying to do the right thing, going, we need to trade, they're going to slaughter us. And there's no, we go harder. Then he called out the clerics or their corruption. Ahmadinejad and his offsider, who's got an interview with Sunni, whether you believe it or not, but it's 100% accurate according to my own knowledge about how it works. They're dealing drugs hand over fist. And they've said, look, when it matters of war, we have to do what we have to do. Coming out of the Bekaa Valley, it's just drugs and weapon trade. IRGC's heavily involved. Pious Muslims, yeah, right. Like pious Vatican and all the other pious religious people running all the drugs all over the world. Same network. Iran-Contra, Barry Seal, Mena, Arkansas, Bush family, Clintons, and I'll give you intimate details on the Clintons direct from the mouth. Barry Seal's boss, Roger Reeves. Lo and behold, so this is the big picture. You're not taking out nationalist Iran fighting those evil Yahud. All right. They are cooperating with Israel and always have. And when Ahmadinejad came out and called out the corruption of the clerics, they're just robbing the place hand over fist. He was pushed out and he was banned from ever running for politics. And to be honest, they would have killed him, but he was so popular with the poor and the rural communities. He got the oil revenues and started distributing it. He started calling out the corruption and so people are hungry in the streets. He's a good man. He's a good man. And you're going to laugh. It's the perfect combo. You look at his speeches, it sounds like Donald Trump's American Carnage speech written by Steve Bannon. It's identical. He's saying, all you filthy rich billionaires while the people are hungry. And you think, wow, I really like this guy. That's why it will work. And he's still alive right now. Maybe he'll do a power sharing with the cliche globalist moderates who are in power right now. Well, technically in power right now. Look, I believe they were done over. They were in the bag before the first bomb dropped. I believe this is total theater. I don't even know if an F-15 got shot down. You'd know a bit about the military. What amazes me is the very low civilian casualties, which is incredible. The other thing is, apart from the girls' school, which is a bit dodgy because Iran never pushed that at all, which is strange. As a propaganda piece, it was very low key. You know yourself the basics of high intensity operations. I mean, you've got hundreds of aircraft in the sky at the same time, no mechanical failures. I thought they'd have at least 10. Something happened, mid-air collision, engine failure, something. I mean, it's freaking amazing. Apart from the Kuwaitis shooting down 3 F-15s, I mean, I don't know how that worked, but whatever. It's incredible how that has been executed. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. That is US power in action. You just saw it. Remember Iran? It just went boom, 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 took out all their leadership. Well, it's easy because Israel ran Iran. The Swiss and German banks ran Iran. They know where they all are. All their people are through their system. That's why when they went after Hezbollah, boom, 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 they're all dead. All the leadership. How did they do that? Hamas, 5-star hotels in Qatar, next to the largest US-UK base in the world, filled with British expats, filled with MI6. Wow, that's interesting. Could we postulate a few theories about this? And there's Bibi getting outed by the own Israeli press. In fact, if you want to read one mainstream press, read all the Israeli press, Jerusalem Post, Israeli Times, Haaretz, because that's where you'll get the most honesty out of the Israeli press, would you believe? And Bibi's funding Hamas. We got to keep funding Hamas, blah, 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 blah. So work it out. You don't think that when they were funding the Soviet Union and sending chips to the Soviet Union because they were so incompetent, couldn't make a TV? The missile gap where they were running the missiles through Red Square, then they'd scrub off the serial number and then they'd paint on another serial number.
And the bombers.
And Kennedy's going, we have a missile gap. We need more defense spending. This is the game. This is the military industrial contractors game. Okay, you've got to justify $1 trillion budget, all right, and you have to justify a giant socialist handout because America, you're the most socialist country in the world. Taxpayer handouts for the rich, free markets for the poor, all right? You are the most socialist, taxpayer-funded. Your corporations are a joke. They rely on giant government subsidies to the high technology sector via the military-industrial complex to spin off one minute it's in the F-15, the next minute it's in your kitchen. Computers, we're using one right now, military technology. All right, I'm not against it per se, but this business of the War Powers Act to keep everyone in line, to keep everyone busy, they want to move that to space exploration. The bottom line, back to Iran, it's all good. America was in control before the first bomb fell, just like Maduro. He probably self-surrendered. He's begging like a dog. He's begging like a dog. Then he's on the phone, please, I'll give you anything.
He's giving the thumbs up. That's a guy who's like,
yeah, look, look, we're going to put you on trial, the same judge that covered up 9/11, and we'll send you to Switzerland for a facelift and you can rack off. We'll put you in jail for a year. We'll take you out on the weekends. I know how it works. They do it in Australia. And that's how they reward their assets. And it's a big game. Did he self-surrender? 50-50. 50-50. Look, America, Hegseth said, we're not playing fair. We're not here to play fair. They would have padded every Venezuelan general's bank account. They would have just walked away, switched the radars off and gone home.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Are you going to tell the general, the US military is coming? Oh, yes, we shall take them on. No, he's not. He's going to Fuck.
Fuck that.
Get me out of here. What
They're
do I
sending in
do?
Delta Force.
Yeah,
Fuck
come
off.
on.
Fuck off.
Come on.
I
He's
ain't
going to
fun.
go, can I have a condo in Miami and 1 million in the
He's gonna
bank?
ask for an
No.
autograph. He's gonna ask for an autograph.
Yeah, and it's just Maduro. This is what drove me insane. People say, well, he needs to be impeached. Poor Venezuela. Oh, give me a break. Maduro was a thief. His Swiss bank accounts were full. They're all a bunch of thieves. Half their money's in Miami bank accounts. Half of them got property in London, Miami, Germany. Give it a rest. All right. And that guy Maduro, of all people, the bus driver made good. I mean, Chavez, you could understand he was a man of the people. He did a lot of stuff for the poor. If you're going to have a socialist, he did do a lot of stuff for the poor. And then they wrecked the country like they normally do with all the corruption. And lo and behold, Maduro had 30% approval ratings. 70% of the barrios, the Chavez strongholds voted against him. Voted against him, for crying out loud. And people think he's so popular. Which planet are these people on? It's documented all through the region, every newspaper, how unpopular he was. And you don't think the generals just walked away? You don't think they're all going, thank God. Now it's wonderful. The US has got all that oil, number one, and they're going to distribute it to the Venezuelans. I mean, sure, they're going to take a cut off the top. What do you expect? It's America. But something that people aren't talking about. It was a brilliant move. Trump didn't invent this. This is the Pentagon planners.
Yeah.
All right. And when America moves, get out of the way, whether you like America or hate America. If the Americans are coming and it's not the, Paul Bremer, 2IC of Kissinger and Associates running it now, setting the whole place on fire, sacking all the Ba'ath Party members after special forces were in there months before organizing the surrender with the Iraqi Republican Guard. And Bremer walks in, fire everyone, let's have democracy. Sets the whole place on fire. Soleimani walks in with the Shia. That was the plan, the Kissinger and Associates plan. They were reshaping the Middle East for the benefit of Israel. 3,000 Americans die, 40,000 soldiers dead, 125,000 permanently injured, 2 million dead Arabs. Is Paul Bremer going to be hung from the neck until dead? We hope so. Won't happen, but you never know. But Hegseth came out and had a go at Bremer. This is not Paul Bremer and this is not Iraq. And I went, wow.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was very clear that we weren't doing the nation building thing. Is you go, man, Venezuela, they went, and then you go, oh, we've always been able to do that.
Always been able to do it, but
Hey,
for the first time,
give me 2 seconds. I do this every show. Sorry, you're getting a baptism by fire. I gotta go piss. Tell everybody where to
well, you
find
know
you.
what?
Or
It's
you got
time
it.
for a break. We're watching Gone with the Wind. We all need a break in such a long
All right,
movie.
I'll mute it. We'll be right back. All right.
2 minutes.
humidity be damned. I just turned the heater on. It's so fucking cold in here.
So where's, sorry, Portland, Maine? Where's that? Washington State? No?
Portland, Maine? No, northeast. Portland,
Oh, okay.
Oregon. And then this is opposite. The
Oh, okay.
north of Boston, top right of America.
Oh, okay. Boston. From
Yeah, yeah,
Boston.
yeah. It's way up there. It's nice.
Whitey Bulger territory.
It's nice. Yeah, I know, right?
The man who worked for the police. Oh, Whitey Bulger wouldn't possibly be working for the police for 30 years.
Of course he fucking would.
No, how could it be? But he hated the police. I don't understand.
Yeah,
How could a bunch of Shia clerics be working for
it's
Swiss
almost
bank
like they're
accounts?
dishonest. You know those
My
guys that are
goodness.
killing people and trafficking drugs and trafficking children?
Uh,
They also fib. Could you believe it?
my
He
goodness.
pinky
La
sweared
la.
me. When he
La
gave me
la,
that shipping
Pennsylvania.
container of kids, he promised me that he wasn't going to tell anybody. Fucking retards.
People are so naive. They're so open to visual stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Donnie Brasco, that great movie with Johnny Depp based on the true story, and after, 10 years of penetrating organized crime in New York, the FBI walked in and said, here he is as an FBI graduate, here he is. And what do you want to tell us, boys?
Yeah.
And they just sat there and they couldn't believe it. No, Donnie, there's no way Donnie could have been a Fed. So there's no way General Soleimani could have been working for the City of London. There's just no way. There's no way the
Yeah.
Ayatollahs are
Yeah. Why
plans. And
why wouldn't it scale up? It's
come
it's
on.
I mean, I do have sympathy for people that are naive because I think it's our go-to. Like, you want to. Most people are good. You want to believe it's good, but at a certain point, you also have to look
No,
at the
come on. It's
uncomfortable truth.
2026, bro. It's 2026.
I'm
So
with,
no
I'm
one
with you.
listens.
I'm trying to
I'm not,
offer up.
I'm not, oh, you poor baby. I don't care. If you believe Donald Trump's a genius, you're a effing moron. All right,
I
stop it.
should
Yes,
clarify. I'm looking at like eighth graders. I'm like, I
oh,
get
okay.
because they're taught this shit. They don't fucking know. They're like, yeah, 1776, and then this happened, and then that. That's what I'm saying. It's like I get that. Um, back to Venezuela hitting Iran, saying
All
this
right.
is
So,
what the
so the
Americans
US,
are doing.
what
This is
what's
what they
happening
can do.
now is everyone's shocked. How is the US winning? It's because you should have always won. It's because you've been penetrated. The Silver Master spiring since the 30s and well before that. But the Silver Master, Nathan Gregory Silvermaster, you're going to see differing views. Was he born in China where he learned a perfect English accent? Was he born in England? You're going to get varying degrees. Okay. The original stuff I saw, he was born in China to a British imperialist family, probably Jewish. Some of the biggest Jewish families, the Sassoons, the Kaldoris, they were Iraqi Jews out of Baghdad. They are the Rothschilds of the East, and people still don't know this stuff. You see them in Hong Kong. They look Asian. They're literally the old globalist Rothschild empire, the Rothschilds of the East. So when you see China and you see Sassoon hanging with the Chinese, you'll have no idea who that is. That is literal a best friends of the old Rothschild dynasty. So this is how you can start putting it all together. Forget about the forelocks, baby. The big boys don't have forelocks. They don't wear capurs. They're in Armani. They are Armani. They are the Hofjuden. They are the mix of the noble families of Europe, the multimillionaires, the old Viennese, they're all related to the Vatican, the Swiss. Okay. And then you had the Kabbalists come in from the East. All right, John Dee, who looked after Queen Elizabeth I, was taught by a Kabbalist in Vienna. This is history books, and they're called the Hofjuden, the court Jews of Europe, particularly of Germany. They're the ones that funded the attacks on the Catholic Church with Martin Luther, although Martin Luther was sincere. But he didn't do it by himself. He had backing. They always have backing. No one man just walks in and takes over the world. Same people that funded Hitler. It's the same people every time, and they usually lose control of their asset. The same people that originally recruited Trump to do the dirty work. Then they lost control via Madison Pompeo, whatever you think of them. Catholics in action got hold of Trump, cut off Israel from China and said, it's over, baby. It's over. And Trump works for them now. Trump will work for anyone. He probably doesn't even know what's going on. He just knows Trump's biggest problem, he's delusional. He believes he's the president, but he really believes he's the president. That's why that's his gift. That's his gift. He's also their weapon. Susie Wiles has him on a big chain and they drag him trying to control this giant bull with big sharp horns, and they just let him loose in the china shop and then go, oh my God, crazy Donald Trump is running around. Everyone's in fear. Then they put him back on the leash and they drag him back out and send him back to Melania. And every time they need to terrorize someone, they drag out Donald Trump. And Donald Trump says something crazy like, I'm going to nuke everyone. I'm Jesus. It's called trolling. It's called psychological warfare. I don't agree with it, and I've had enough of it, to be honest. After his Jesus stuff, I think he's really overstepped the mark.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that's enough. All right, that's enough. But it's called psychological warfare. It was like Nixon and Kissinger. Nixon was portrayed as mad and out of control, so they could threaten the North Vietnamese and get a peace deal.
Yeah,
It's
they intentionally leaked the madman. We can't
yeah,
stop him. He's gonna
yeah,
hydrogen bomb Hanoi. It was all leaked.
yeah. And it's no different with Donald Trump.
Yeah,
The thing is, they probably do mean it to some degree. I wouldn't be surprised if they've used tactical nukes, bunker busters, and some of those redoubts. Those things,
probably.
10 kiloton, three kiloton warhead bomb. They may have used them in Afghanistan originally because there was, you may not remember the news reports, but in 2001 there was Geiger counters going off everywhere over there in Afghanistan. But whatever. The point is, Pentagon's winning. Why? Because you're not dealing with the old multi-generational networks that have infiltrated the US for a long time. But the most blaring is the Diane West red thread, read her stuff, when she's not slagging off Islam every 5 minutes. It's still good stuff about Joseph McCarthy and the communist penetration of America. Silver Master Spy Ring. It's not taught in the schools, and it must be. They were all through Hollywood. They were all through the State Department. Roosevelt's best buddy, Harry Dexter White, a Lithuanian Jew, right, changed his name to White, right, was a literal Soviet asset. Half the British aristocracy were Soviet assets, but they weren't Soviet assets. They were City of London assets, whose other asset is the Soviet Union. People, I'm not making it up. Peter Wright, 1980s spy catcher. He was the MI5 guy, said they're head of MI5, the two I see at MI5, half of MI6, the Cambridge Five. Victor Rothschild, a Soviet asset. They were everywhere through the system. Why? They wanted to destroy the United States. And the British went along with it because they had lost their colonies and they weren't happy about it. That's why they team up with their assets to bring down the United States. Donald Trump is in the bag. He's being handled by local American nationalists, pedophiles, but they're nice pedophiles. I am not telling you they are white knights. They were a bunch of stinking criminals, half of which were involved in 9/11. But they believed they had to engage in the Middle East, get into Eurasia, or else they would be booted out by the City of London. That's why. Dick Cheney hates Israel with a passion. H.W. Bush hates Israel with a passion. All right. But they're scum. There's a new generation, skull and bones. I was contacted by Fred Smith, founder of FedEx. I got private photos via his nephew, Joseph Davies. All right. They were thanking me. They didn't know. They didn't know. That's the producers of Sicario. They had no idea. Fred Smith, skull and bones, come into the family, Brendon. I'm giving you gold here. You don't have to like them. But number one, America is super strong. The Pentagon's winning wars with minimal civilian casualties. Number two, the US is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. The US is shored up. Drill, baby, drill. It's shoring up. It's becoming powerful. That's good because from this foundation, you can promote liberty. But if Americans think they just sit back, trust the plan and chill out, it's all under control, you are brutally and sadly mistaken. If Americans do not begin engaging directly in the political process, not everyone is evil. Look, Joe Kent is not evil. I got a few queries about his behavior, but he's not evil. He's a family man. I'm not sure why his second wife is working with the ultra left-wing grey zone, but I guess that's psych warfare when you're a Green Beret. But anyway, I'm sure they background checked his wife, but there was Joe Kent in. Because why? Because his wife is not left-wing. She's part of the intelligence community handling of all these different groups. So with all these things in mind, everything is beautiful. It's a great, big, beautiful bill, but we've got a few problems. Chabad Lubavitch, the fact Israel still controls all your critical infrastructure, though the National Defense Authorization Act claims we got it under control. Just chill, please. You don't sit back when your critical infrastructure is being run by Israel. You don't sit back and say, oh, I guess it's all right. America has to free itself completely. There are American assets in Israel, Jews who work for American intel. Daniel Lewin was one of them. That's why they killed him. He was killed by that group, Likud, because he's a US intelligence asset, the guy that was Telpiot, the guy that created Akamai. It goes both ways. But right now, you have a massive Russian Soviet-era penetration of Israel. Matrokin files, Ynet News. They ran generals, brigadier generals, members of the Knesset. I mean, the former foreign minister and secretary of defense, Avigdor Lieberman, was best friends with Putin. He's sitting in F-35s. They're researching and designing Intel chips, and they put backdoors in them. You want to go down another tangent? Chris Domas, God Mode Unlocked, DARPA, where they found all the VIA industrial controller chips based on x86, that's AMD and Intel, with a 64-bit string. You could just input it straight in, bypass everything, go straight into the hardware. They had a mini chip, a little tiny chip, a deeply embedded core, which ran Minix, a tiny version of Linux. And you could take over all the infrastructure, and it's in industrial controller chips. I don't believe the Stuxnet story. I think it's a complete fucking lie. Excuse my French. I try not to swear.
Say whatever you want.
Yeah, Stuxnet is a lie. They were already in the industrial controller chips. They were already in the network.
You go up the fucking flow chart. You go to the very thing that you'd want why wouldn't you? It's the right move. I'm not saying it's ethical or moral, but it's the right move.
It's in everything. And we're not talking about the Intel management engine or the AMD platform security processor. No, they can be disengaged. We're talking about a tiny little chip within the chip which can completely bypass everything. And Chris Domas and DARPA and Peter Zatko, the former head of DARPA security, Google security, and Twitter security, basically caught him out. And in 2008, they started investigating the backdoors. Backdoors in chips, backdoors. That's why the Russian stuff doesn't work. It won't shoot down Israeli aircraft because it's all backdoored. Where does Russia? Russia doesn't produce its own industrial controller chips. It has to import them. It can't make anything. It's backwards. Very smart people pull them out of Russia, put them in a high-tech zone, put them in an industrial base. They start producing. Bibi will tell you that. They start producing, baby, producing like that. Very smart people. But they don't have the industrial base. They're backwards. It's third world out there. All their high-tech stuff is all imported from or smuggled in from Germany, South Korea, Japan, and America. All of it. And Israel's the big one. That's a big one.
So how did they
just to clarify, we're all focused on sex rings, sex with kids. That's the gold stuff that gets the views. Epstein was one of dozens. The other way is they control U.S. critical infrastructure, and now they have to do a deal. They're doing a deal. The point is, America, you better get control of your government, and you better start telling Donald Trump, you better get rid of Chabad Lubavitch and your son-in-law, Jared Kushner, the homosexual that got married. You better get rid of him out of the White House right now. Right now. And is there any reason why you can't marry a girl from Idaho? Do you have to marry Eastern Bloc prostitutes? Is that what you have to do, Donald? Did you have to throw your first wife down the stairs, Ivana, who was running around with Ghislaine Maxwell collecting your 16-year-old girls out of trailer parks? Did you have to kill your first wife, you and your friends? So you need to have a hard look at Donald Trump. And I think let him do this dirty work, let him finish Iran, and then retire him. Then we can have Peter Thiel's boyfriend, J.D. Vance. He's going to lie to us. He's going to tell us nice things. He looks presidential. It's no different. The Pentagon will be running things. Heritage Foundation will be running things. Texas billionaires will be running things. It's going to be up to Americans to say, while we're running things and taking over the world, can we please begin the movement towards the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution? Can't do it overnight. Can we please tell us who did 9/11?
So I'm with you. It's the Pentagon. Of course they run. I have no illusions. I don't want that to be the case, but it's why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, but please remember, the awful lot of people think Donald Trump's a genius because everyone keeps saying Donald Trump's a genius.
I'm with you. But if we're talking about, and I'm glad you said it, is like, yeah, quote unquote, our guys, yeah, they're not teddy bears either. I've no illusions about being white knights, and it's just that's beyond politics. That's theology. That's the sin of man, the imperfect, whatever. How did this group, what we're talking about, the American nationalists, how did they shirk the infiltration of Israel, City of London? Because you're saying what they're doing now is they're fighting back, they're pushing back, right? It's
yeah, they've been pushing back for a long time. Look,
so did it begin after Kennedy? Did it begin after in the 70s, 80s? This sort of counter pro-American.
No, it began more in the 90s, basically. But through 70, The 1970s was the pivotal decade. Kissinger's there with Nixon, and Nixon bragged you could
Gold
not have done,
window, all that
yeah,
shit.
détente with China, détente with the Soviet Union. And he said it was only because of me we could do this. And Kissinger's saying this is a great idea. And a lot of the Republicans were going, and the billionaires that funded him, what are you doing, dude? What's going on? No, it's part of our plan. We need to divide and conquer, and we'll détente, and then the
Fund
amazing,
Afghanistan and
yeah, Kissinger, and we got all this magical stuff. Why don't we just take them over? They're a joke. They can't produce a television. Why
yeah,
do, well, we need the official enemy, bro, because we're setting up the multipolar world order. When we're ready, we'll roll it over into these four sections of the planet, and you'll handle North America, South America. Russia will handle its section, North Asia, and the plan was Russia, Stalin, then Mao would handle South Asia, David Ben-Gurion would handle the bunting cloverleaf map, the Middle East, the intersection between Eurasia and Africa, and Hitler was to handle the United States of Europe, the original EU. That's the original plan. It went to hell. They lost Second World War when Adolf Hitler refused his orders from Hermann Goring, his handler, and invaded the Soviet Union.
yeah,
He was never meant to invade. He was meant to form a bulwark, and then you have United States of Europe, Soviet Union, South Asia, Mao, and the bunting cloverleaf map, and then you would have the US, the colonies, the British colonies. Well, what happened? Complete disaster. And I mean disaster. And the United States ends up holding the ring of power completely, completely. They stole 600 patents off the British, said, well, if you want all our land lease, you've got to give us 600 patents. So half of the high tech didn't just come. Yeah, look, America had its own. There were some very smart people there, obviously, but a lot of their stuff came out of the British and, of course, the German stuff.
hmm
And that's what made America a literal, untouchable economic technology powerhouse. But you got to have an enemy. How do you tell
yeah,
the people we need $1 trillion budget? Why? The Soviets are coming.
yeah.
But the problem wasn't that. The problem was they were inside the United States. They were in the State Department. They're all through the whole thing, the Venona decrypts, which James Angleton, and Angleton was a dick, but he wasn't a complete dick. He was paranoid and a drunk.
You should
And get,
read another book. You should read The Ghost by
oh
Jefferson
no,
Morley.
yeah, yeah, it's
About
good. I watch everything he does. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've interviewed him early on. I love that book.
Seriously. Oh no,
Yeah,
he's great.
it was
You've got
years
to read
ago.
him.
Yeah, no,
Oh, he talks about Jewish power. He talks
yeah,
about the Zionist
Scorpion. This is
movement.
another book,
Yeah.
Scorpion's Dance, about
Yeah.
Watergate. The Jefferson Morley, The Ghost,
Look,
is
he's a mainstream author, but he's the
is
best
very good.
mainstream author on this.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is
I'd
how
love to
I,
go
but
deeper.
like when people are like, that guy's this, I'm like, hey man, that guy came on my show and I had 100 subscribers. To me, I'm like, that's a guy that just wanted to talk about his book. He's an asset. I'm like, what asset's burning me on 100 subscribers for?
Well, I've watched every lecture, listened to every book, audio book. He knows exactly what's going on. And for a mainstream to survive, I mean, I'm half suicidal, so I don't care. But for someone with wife, kids trying to pay a mortgage, I get it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the best. He is the
He's
best. You've got
awesome.
to read his stuff.
You ever read any of Will Arkin?
No, never heard the
Will
name.
Arkin, Generals Have No Clothes. It's a great author, great intel guy. Um, Base Nation by David Vine. That's another one all about the U.S. is the self-licking ice cream cone of the bases around the world. Sorry, let's get back. I don't want to derail Angleton. These are all books I love. I just love
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
No, he's
Uh,
good. Jefferson Morley,
the
100%. But
man.
he's fair on Angleton. He's
Yeah.
fair on him. But yeah, he
He
was.
points out at the end though, he's like, why did he have a funeral? Why does he have a ceremonial like tombstone in Israel?
Yeah, but it's also a rubbish dump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jefferson Morland said you go to they plant trees for you in little forests in a park, and his is a rubbish dump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he was handling Yitzhak Rabin. That's the guy who got
Wonder
assassinated in '95.
Angleton was
They were best
Angleton.
friends.
So was Angleton pushing back against or facilitating the theft of nuclear weapons from the United States to Israel? The fact that Morley even touches that, though, I love because most people don't even know that.
Yeah, he also talks about Kennedy's Jewish doctor who was feeding him crystal methamphetamine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I
they were all
sorry,
feeding him drugs.
I completely derailed us.
No, no,
Angleton
no. I
said he's a
usually do
dick.
it.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's
Look, 50% dick, but he meant well. Was he a spy? Now, good old Arnold Milchan's best friend, the Israeli asset who actually helped get the nuclear weapons parts to Israel, who coincidentally promotes Oliver Stone and JFK and produces it, and you're thinking, what? Arnold Milchan, the refrigerator guy from Israel, the Israeli intelligence asset. He's been booted, by the way. James Bamford made sure he got booted. He's living in Highgate next to Karl Marx's cemetery, living in his luxury apartment now. He won't come back to the US because he's got they want him dead. The intel want him dead. Now, Angleton's complex. It's
He
always
wasn't
hinted at.
paranoid enough.
Well, he was paranoid, but
But he
he was
wasn't
paranoid
paranoid
for a
enough,
reason.
man. Yeah, was it
He
Kim
was
Philby? Is
paranoid for a
that
reason.
yeah?
Yeah, after that, they said it destroyed him. He was completely destroyed. And then
I
he'd
just,
had the
yeah,
Venona decrypts,
yeah, they,
The
yeah.
Venona decrypts, and he knew it was completely riddled, highest levels of government, silver master spiring, riddled. And what they did when they folded that out, they simply moved into Israel. So now we've got Israel. And in the 70s, he catches on with Nixon and he says Jew boy, because that's what he used to call Kissinger,
Kissinger, yeah.
Jew boy. And he said, Jew boy is leaking to the press everywhere. We got to get rid of him. Well, Kissinger strikes first, and you get Watergate. Just after Nixon's
Yeah.
gone on that,
Bunch of
Nixon,
third-rate burglars get
yeah,
caught.
yeah. It's like Russia Gate. It's a still going, but
It'd be
then they
like
get
if
rid of
sorry, it'd be
Angleton.
like if Delta Force it'd be like if they went to get Maduro and it's like but the doors were locked and they didn't know what to do. It's like if I'm doing that, okay. If Delta Force is doing that, then that's intentional. So the fact that the burglars were the plumbers, the fact that this you know, evil, but these CIA burglars, they know what they're doing. The fact that they like left fingerprints everywhere, like the door open, like it's pretty it's in your
I
face.
wouldn't discount stupidity completely, but yes, I
Sure,
agree. I think it was a
absolutely.
setup. It was a setup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They looked at Kennedy. They went that maybe we went a little overboard with that. That was kind of hardcore. We blew his head off. With this guy, we'll do it a little differently. They were a little nicer.
And Kennedy was no angel either. Don't get me wrong. I
There's
believe he
not.
was a good man. He thought he was doing the right thing, but I mean, his whole family were drug dealers. They were
He's a,
gangsters.
it's back to the whole. There are no white knights. I get that.
No.
Yeah. Again, I get it's what he did to awful. You're cheating on your. Hey man, I get it, but it's
Oh, he did more than that, though. He was screwing East German Stasi assets.
I
He was
know.
officer
I
of
yeah,
crystal meth.
yeah no yeah no, I know he wasn't. But my point is like I try to, as you said earlier, I try to have a little more of like a not naive view. Be like yeah, I doubt Michael Jordan's like a fucking good friend, but like I want him on the team. That's how I look at it. Like
Yeah, look, I get the point is intent. Was he sincere? Yes. Did he want
I
to
think
destroy America? No. But he had no business making peace with Khrushchev. Why are you making peace with Khrushchev?
that
Destroy it. You're
yeah
America. That's your job.
yeah no, I think that was naivety.
Go to the moon together, technology
Yeah, fuck.
transfer together. What the hell? He'd be standing with John Kerry to this day telling us that possum farts are destroying the environment. That's where Kennedy would be. So sorry, no, not
No,
exactly. But he was sincere. He did want to change things.
sure,
He did want to fix things.
I do believe that.
Yeah. But regardless of that, it's always balance. Nixon funded by Nelson Rockefeller. And then, after they got rid of Nixon, Gerald Ford saying, I do not want was it David or Nelson running as my vice? And you know why he said that? He said, because they'll kill me to make Rockefeller president. That's Gerald Ford.
I haven't heard that.
Oh, you've never heard that one?
I've heard
Jefferson
he's
Morley.
got some great UFO quotes.
Yeah, yeah. It's all US high tech. They got it off the
Of course it
Germans.
is. Of course
Yeah.
it is.
It's all US high tech.
Of course
But
it is.
who knows? Aliens may exist. I don't know, but it's a long way to go. It's an awful waste of space, all that stuff. But regardless, it's all US high tech.
Yeah.
They've got stuff stashed away in those London
Ben Rich.
warehouses.
Ben Rich,
Yeah,
Skunkworks.
yeah. I
It would
mean,
take
they'll
an
do
act
it.
of God to get this stuff out. If you can dream
Yeah,
it, we've done it.
yeah. And I mean, look at the I always say to people, look at the SR-71 Blackbird or
In the
Harvard.
fucking 60s.
63,
Yeah.
60 years before I'm 55. In 5 years, I'll be 60. Within my lifetime, you go from a rickety thing to an all titanium turbo ramjet, Mach 4 plus for berths, 100,000 foot max. And what? You don't think they got some crazy
Not
stuff?
that,
Come
and the
on.
A12 ox cart before it went higher and faster.
Yeah, that you'll know. It's still classified. It's
Of
top. It
course it
specs are
is. I
still
know.
classified.
I was just looking at it once a year. I'll go back into an SR-71, and yeah, the best you can get is they'll dance around it. They'll be like, we were at Mach point, 3.7, and we gave her a little. They always say something along the lines of, if you ask for more, she'll give it to you. They never go past that, but it's pretty obvious.
Yes. They
They're
can't
talking.
do it sustained, but that thing can burst,
I
man. That
bet
thing
it
can go.
fucking can. Yeah.
Gallops.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had SR-71 staff like who used to work on it, and they'd
Yeah.
come and contact us and tell us all these stories. And it's
Is
like,
some of
yeah,
this shit, and there it's
But look at that plane. It's a freaking spaceship, baby. Look at it. 63 and before 60s.
There's a picture of
Look
me.
at it.
There's a picture of me touching one
Oh, wow.
on the
See, you're so
Intrepid, the
lucky. You're
USS
so
Intrepid.
lucky.
Yeah, off the
I can't
Manhattan.
get to America, baby. I'm a bad boy. I can't even get a
I'll
visa.
have to find that picture now. I'm like 7. My dad's holding me up and we're touching it. It's that
Uh,
thing's a fucking spaceship. Yeah, the idea that it just everyone's like, yeah, it's a shame they retired it. It's like,
it's 60 years ago, people.
no, I'm not saying that, but they're like, we retired it with nothing to replace it. It's like,
Yeah. That's why there's sonic booms over the Australian desert all the time.
I mean, dude, back in the 80s, I mean, I don't know if you ever watched, all the stuff about like the Aurora, right? Where they called them skyquakes because once a month, the same day, it was always the third Thursday of the month, around 6 a.m. exactly, there would be a series of little earthquakes starting from LA and going all the way to Nevada. And they're like, we don't know what this is. And it's like, dude, it's something going Mach 9. You like the third Thursday of every month. And then there's one Thursday where they didn't do it. And it's because it was Thanksgiving. Everyone's like, yeah, that's clearly a spy plane. But yeah, no, fuck me. Gerald Ford, sorry.
Yeah, but you don't need to go all conspiracy. It's right there in the open. You can
It's
talk to
all
people.
the
It's
reality
all
is
open
so
source.
much. It's not just open source, but the reality is, I think, so much sexier. It's so much more, and I don't mean sexy in the fact that it's evil. I mean in the same way you would read a fucking Tom Clancy novel. The reality of it is so much juicier. Like what's really going on is, the idea that this is American technology to me is so much more wild than it was gray aliens. The fact that I'm like, what did we bring back from Germany? What did those guys know?
You read The Hunt for Zero Point? Nick Cook, The Hunt for Zero Point?
No, but I need
Oh
to.
my God, you got to read. That's from
I've had on
2005.
Nick Pope. He just died. He was the head of the UK's, right? They're British, the UFO part of the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, well, I know you're not, even though you're having on these big guests, you got 14,000 subscribers. I took one look at you and yeah, he's real. He's only got 14,000 subscribers.
Well, I was banned from YouTube in August 2021. They let me back on this past October. I didn't even ask. They just let me back on, which is I'm very
Uh,
wary of. I'm like, why are and my show is at 5,000 subscribers. They reactivated it and it's grown to 14,000. I'm
oh,
very,
yeah, but you have multiple channels. Yeah, okay.
well, I'm
So
on
you've
Rumble.
got me.
Rumble's got a ton, but yeah,
Oh, they deleted me twice. The head editor contacted me. Oh, we really like your content. Why don't you come to Rumble? I said, yeah, problem, dude. You've deleted me twice. Oh, I'll look into it. I never
yeah,
heard
no,
back. I went back on. My
I don't
comments were
trust
full of,
Rumble either. I'm
oh,
on
no, well,
there.
Peter Thiel, JD Vance on it. And there's the closet homosexual, openly homosexual, really, Nick, what's his Fuentes.
Fuentes.
I mean, look, I got no love for politicians, but just hammering his Hindu Indian wife disgustingly. But
Yeah,
he's on JD Vance, Peter Thiel's Rumble. So how does that work with 1.8 million subscribers?
yeah.
So everybody, come on, there is no.
All these things are fucked. Proceed accordingly.
Yeah. Look, what they do is they hold you as a talent. They talent spot. They love me. They've tried to recruit me so many times.
They've
But I said,
never
Brandon,
tried to.
calm
I'm
down.
my
Oh,
ego.
openly,
My ego
openly.
takes such a hit that I haven't
No,
been
but wait,
contacted
but
by a
wait.
shadow. All right.
No, but wait, it'll come. What they do is they're saying, could you just wait a couple of years? We've got to sort out a few things. We like you. You're honest. I mean, they like honest people. They look at Alex Jones, the lying, creepy, group sex, half-witted, tranny. Yeah, they look at these people. They hate them, and they just can't wait to get rid of them. But when things are fixed, you'll probably find your subscribers start climbing rapidly, and suddenly you go, "Hey, nobody's contacted you.
Mm,
Nobody's offered you a check. It just starts happening."
yeah.
And you can read Francis Stoner Saunders, the Cultural Cold War, where the CIA, which was Wall Street and the usual suspects, the Vatican, sorry, that's a joke. No, Jews, they're all Jews. I'm sorry, it's just a fact.
You can
They're all openly Jewish.
call
They're
'em
all
whatever you
proudly
want. I
Jewish.
don't give a shit.
Yeah. And they're all on Wall Street and they're all interacting with the goy. So everyone's working together. And they were running conferences, magazines, left-wing magazines, right-wing magazines,
I mean, Dave
movies.
McGowan, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon.
Dave McGowan, wow, Dave's a
Yeah,
legend.
yeah,
May he rest in peace.
yeah. I read his book last. Yeah, that's all. It's so you're like that's one of the things where you're like, I'm trying not to believe every conspiracy, right? Because you look at some shit, you're like, yeah, 9/11, yeah, JFK, and then like a couple months later, you're like, what the fuck, what the Doors? You're like, you're like, what's was the Lookout Mountain Observatory where they're filming classified films for? What the fuck? And it's
Have
the
you
mamas and the
watched
papas?
our good friend Lee Levine, guy who ambushed Charlie Kirk Bannon? He
No.
does one of the top AI video producers in the world, probably in the top 10.
Oh
He was
shit.
interviewed by The Atlantic, but it's all disappeared now. He was interviewed by The Hollywood Reporter. It's all no, it hasn't appeared. Where's the interview? And he did a production. They featured it everywhere. It gets hardly any views, but it's been on all these big channels. It's called Monitoring the Situation by I Can't Even Productions. Go look it
Okay.
up.
All right. I
It's
don't.
so incredible. I said, Lee, you got to be working with an intel agency, dude. That is too good. And he's laughing his ass off at me. He said, but dude, it's hard. It's really hard to make. It takes hundreds of dollars, on Higgs field AI stuff to try and get it right. But he did stuff you're going to blow your mind.
I think best case for like what I'm doing and what we're talking about is just as an example would be like Jefferson Morley-esque. I
Yeah.
want to do the right thing. I do want to tell the truth. I do want a family one day. I'm also, yeah, I'm not gonna go, get my kid shot in the head. But I do think that I don't think you have to completely fold and be a demon. I think I don't know. How do you?
You don't want to make 25 million a year like Alex Jones. Come
No, no,
on,
no, no.
dude.
I do, but there are some things that I'm not.
Then you got to do the film. You got to dance in a clown suit with Roger Stone. That's how Roger Stone got Alex Jones. I'm not dissing him for the sake of it. The guy's a weird. He's half mad. His wife Erica what's it Wolf. Her mother works at the Texas Reserve Board. I mean, she's a prostitute. She's been a high-level prostitute on the record for a decade. All right, she's a yoga instructor, Intel asset. They put him with her to calm him down because he was so drunk and so off his head
Alex
on.
Jones is the best entertainer in the world, though. Just
Oh,
purely
yeah.
as a show.
Well, hey, in his defense, because I got sick of hearing about the Jews every 5 minutes, what I liked about Alex Jones was he got white papers. He got
Yeah,
Council on Foreign Relations.
yeah,
He got Project for the New American Century. He
yeah,
got Project 2020,
yeah.
2021. So I'm going to give Alex
You got
Jones
to
some
give credit
credit.
where it's due.
Give him credit. He did a lot of white paper good stuff, but he's also highly compromised. How long? He's had a drug addiction since forever. He's half mad. He's weird. Everyone that
I
worked with
thought
him
he
had
was
enough of
getting
him.
I thought he was getting sober. It seemed
Oh,
like
well,
he
he
had
has. He has. He
no.
has got sober because let's call him a fat pig because he was selling health products. You got a liver the size of
Yeah,
Detroit. You're drinking half a bottle of vodka before bed to get to sleep after all your Dexies and your meth. I mean, he's not even doing coke. He's doing meth.
yeah.
He's legendary.
It's I think the one thing that's kind of anchored me with this podcast is truly, born and raised, went to private Catholic school, then became an atheist at like 16 and you did the whole atheist shit. And then in 2020,
What, you
2021.
weren't impressed with the fine Catholic example?
Oh, when you're little, you believe it, but
Okay.
you get the, and like
No, I'm making a joke. I mean,
oh,
no real Catholic doesn't hate the Catholic Church. And then
well,
you
yeah.
meet good Catholics and they'll bring you back and say, we are the church, Brendan. We are the living
And that
stones.
is,
We
and
are
that,
the church
and
members.
that's the way you go. Is you see this, you go, this
Yeah.
makes no sense. This is shit. And then you go to the atheist side, and you're like, well, I don't think like nihilist degeneracy with relative moralism is good either. Like, consent or love doesn't have an age. Yes, it fucking does, you pedophile. But then you come back to now, whereas early I grew up with it. It was like you believed it because it was what you're told, versus coming back to Christ in 2021, 31, or God use your placeholder 35 now. Now I feel it in my bones. In the same way that I don't think, gravity is not a theory. I go, I know I feel God in my bones. And to me, that's where I come down to is like, I don't think, I just look at it in terms of like long term. I don't, what could be worth betraying God and betraying your soul? I get that there's appeal. I totally get it. 25 million would be nice. I truly believe that there is a God, and I am trying my best to do his bidding. I fuck up all the time. I'm trying my best, when it's something comes like, why am I talking to these doctors before they get on Rogan and they're talking about these toddlers are having heart attacks? At a certain point, you have to go, hey, God's giving you this and going, hey, I want you to talk about this. And it's going to suck. And you're going to get booted off of YouTube and you're going to get depressed and start drinking heavily, which I did. I do think though, if you continually ask for God's guidance, I think he will guide you. And there's the
Always.
there's
Always.
the fear of if I start misusing my platform, I'm gonna burn in hell. But it's also the love of like, I don't I don't want to betray him. And it's a middle ground. And it's so I
You
would
look,
like
your
to,
time will come. Stay true because the time for radical authenticity is here over the next 2 years.
well, I also accept when I truly let go and give it to God, I also accept that his plan might be that today is my last day. And you go, wait, but God, I trusted you. How come I didn't eventually make money? And if you truly trust him, it could mean that you make the 25 million. It could be that tomorrow it's over. And you have to go, am I okay with that? And it's anxiety inducing, but I am okay with it to truly give it over.
Also, don't be afraid to be happy. God wants you, look, God wants you to be happy
I've been
for what
working
it
on
is.
that one for so long, man. I've been working on that one for
Well,
so.
you're clearly a deep thinker, Tommy, but I promise you, your time will come. Those who are radically authentic, your time will come. Just remember this. I've been contacted by like Heather's clearly State Department, and she's at meetings with, big banquets in DC. She said, please calm down, Brennan. Not everyone's against you, blah, blah, blah. They kind of gave up on me because it's a long story. But the point is, not everyone is evil. There's lots of good people in the US government, and there are people who want you to hate the FBI. And sometimes I do. I hate cops sometimes. But thank God the good coppers came, shook my hand, sir,
Yeah,
we're going to die.
and then you see the good ones, and you're
And
like,
they say, look,
okay,
keep at it. It's a long road, bro. We're trying to reform. And I think, thank God, because I would look, if I had access to firearms and you just can't get them, I almost thank God I didn't have access to firearms. I would have killed those cops. They
probably.
were raiding me, they were planting evidence, the corruption that went on, I would have killed them instantly. No ifs, no. I told him, dude, you ever do this to me? I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm not afraid of anybody. No, I'm not afraid of talks cheap. I'm not afraid of anyone. And I've proven it time and again. They tried to kill me in jail, gangsters. I said, tell him to go F himself. If you just apologize to Steve Wallace, who's murdered, part of this huge offense bikie gang worldwide. I said, tell him to go F himself. Let's go. They had to drag him out. They had to put him in protection. They had to transfer him out of that jail. I mean, I got transferred as well. They broke my arm and tried to kill me. I'm not putting up with shit from anybody. Nobody. Give me 6 weeks in the kill room too, and I can become a very handy with a rifle. We're going to have access to firearms. But let me tell you something. If you're a copper and you're doing your best, you're gold. You are a piece of gold. Don't give up and don't leave.
Yeah.
You've got to try and stay in because if we can educate the public, whether in the military too, just put up with it, take notes, record, and wait. If we can start a grassroots public movement, free America, free the world, we're going to clean all these effers out. We're going to clean them all out.
You do, and you have to. Again,
Sorry, I'm just like
no,
thinking
dude,
back. I,
no,
I
man.
lost all faith in the police after that. All faith.
Hey, man, take it from the guy that I went to the University of Georgia, the biggest party school in America, surrounded by 30,000 beautiful Southern women. All I did was study. I went to one football game. All I did was like, I wanted to be a doctor. I held doctors up on the highest pedestal. Yeah, I'm with you. 2021, I'm like, what the fuck? How could they? I'm with you. But then you kind of like the Catholic thing. You go, fuck them all. And then you find some truly doing the Lord's work and you're like, okay. And that's the flip side of it is, not everyone is evil. There are a lot of bad people, but there are people. If somebody didn't know me or didn't know you, let's say they've never heard of either of us and they watch this episode, they be these guys are swearing, they're making off-color jokes and blah blah blah, and I'd go, yeah, it's fair. I would think if you went back and watched me for a year, you'd go, all right, I don't think he's evil. He's kind of an idiot, but I don't think he's evil. You then have to extend that to other people and go, okay, they're not all evil. And I do believe a lot of these people are trying to fix this system because if it's not fixed in this way, the inevitable way is just World War III genocide slaughter. And if you truly care about the human race, you're going to try to fix it. You're going to try to excise the tumor before you chop off the leg. And I do think that what you said about a groundswell, it's like the long march to the institutions. You just got to do it in reverse. You just got a long march back. You got to, infiltrate everything in the opposite way. But and I know it sounds like a broken record, like an eye-rolling cliche, but you got to give it up to God, man. You got to give. That doesn't mean do nothing. You got to work, but you got to give it up to God, and I think that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, I need to give you some advice. I'm
Sure.
worried. You're also forgetting to be happy. You're obviously very hard on yourself. I can see that in you. You're very hard on yourself. Try not to
No, so
let when you say let it go, I hope you're crying because tears on the pillow are vital. You've got to weep.
yeah,
You've got to
yeah,
weep.
yeah, yeah.
Cry, baby, cry. But don't also leave you need to understand your own personality. I can be very hard on myself. I'm also fearless, but also reckless. But God made me that way. But God willing, I will tell you, can I just say,
So whatever you want.
I went to the Russian Orthodox Church. I was going to be a monastic. I was so disgusted with the world. And I partied. I worked in nightclubs, done the meth, done the cocaine, party, popped the pills.
Sure.
But I was never bad. I might do it once every couple of months or something. That's the sort of person I was. But I saw how dangerous it was too to the youth. I never touched a drug till I was like 29, 27, something like that. Never touched a drug. But I worked in clubs before then. It was around me everywhere, no interest. God sent me down that track so I could understand it. Now you
Hmm.
see how a shard of meth, put it in a scotch. Next thing you know, they brought in the secretaries and a prime minister is doing things he wouldn't normally do. But I beg you to not be too hard on yourself. I beg you to try Catholic prayers against witchcraft and curses. I know it sounds corny, and I didn't want
No,
to do a Tucker Carlson. Oh, the demon scratched my back. I don't believe a word of it with him. I think he's a complete fraud, but whatever. I was so desperate and spiraling so badly. And I watched an old video, which was a good video I did, and I swore 57 times. I put it in DaVinci Resolve. I did a transcript 57 times. I thought, why did I do that? 50, I said the F word 57 times in an hour and destroyed a good video. Now I went through, took it all out, reposted it, but I thought there's something wrong. I got to stop. I'm spiraling. I'm having dark thoughts. I want revenge. I'm going to jump on a plane. I'll stab people at Perth Airport. I'm losing my mind. Finally, I started praying against witchcraft curses because Mexico's full of it. Demonology is full of it's central here. There's also ley lines here. It's full of it. Witchcraft is real.
hmm.
And when I started doing that, I started feeling better. And I said, I don't care if this is garbage or not. I feel better. Every day I pray
I
against
just
witchcraft, Masonic curses, because they talent spot and they see that you might be a threat, if you don't believe they do that stuff, I don't know. Quantum physics, baby, Wolfgang Pauli, Carl Jung, it's all connected, all in the quantum field. I beg you, I'm very scientific, you're very scientific. I beg you to please consider witchcraft stuff
it
and
is as
curses.
real as gravity.
Yeah,
It is
consider
as
it at least. Just go, okay, I'm going to give this a go. Light your candles, put up some icons,
That's what I
and
always
try
tell
it.
people. I'm like, try it, try it like it's a. All right, I'll take this and see if it helps me sleep. Pretend it's a fucking over the counter. Try it. See if it works. And it's, I try to pray directly to God. I don't, I'm always hesitant about saints because I'm like, well, they were people too, which makes me think that they're maybe. But one of my favorites is, I mean, Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him. We humbly pray, and do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God Almighty, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits that prowl about the earth, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. I love that one. And the way I look at it is when you view that evil is real and demons are real, hey man, you also have to look the other side. Angels are real. God's real. And hey man, if you're on a battlefield, don't forget you got some like angelic air support. Call in the JDAM, call in St. Michael, call in G, like you're not alone. It is free will and it's very scary and the stakes are real. But if you go, they're doing dark magic and witchcraft, and it's, hey, the inverse is true. You got your boys and they're going to help you. And they, you know, and so, yeah, do it, pray it. But what are you saying about,
You got to be, I had to be forced to be desperate.
yeah,
I prayed, but I never prayed those specific Catholic prayers against
you
demonology and
gotta,
witchcraft.
you gotta be in a
Uh,
bad spot. And then even that, you look back and you go, that was God putting you there and going, hey, here you are.
Yeah,
And
I had a visitation when I was 18. I was working in Kalgoorlie in the desert. I was as atheist as anyone, agnostic, surfing. I'd work in the desert. I'd come back from a week off. I woke up on my back with a glowing white woman with short hair about to touch me on the forehead. And I went, what the? And she went, and disappeared. I just went, what the? Jumped out of bed with my doona. I'm 18. I'm fit. I'm drinking. I'm partying in one of the toughest towns in Western Australia. And I sat for 2 hours in the kitchen. And that was my first little taste of stuff, which made me start thinking
You
maybe there's
go,
more to this.
what was that? And you can push it away. You can go, that was a weird, but no, eventually you have to just go, yeah, maybe it is real. Maybe it absolutely is. And it is. Let me just double check that because I have another show in 30 minutes. I was gonna say what you were saying about don't, you know, be afraid to be happy. And that is something I've worked on very hard. I stopped drinking 2 years and a couple months ago. I was having horrible panic attacks after, and I just had to stop. I've lost a ton of weight. I've blah 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 blah. But Apollo 16 astronaut Charlie Duke, he's the one that got me praying again because he was like, I went to the moon, and some people are like, no, we didn't, no, we did. I think he was the later mission, so I think he did. But he said, he goes, I went to the moon, and he goes, and then after that, I was so depressed because like, what else is there to do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna appeal it. He's like, well, you got a new aircraft. And he's like, dude, I've walked on, so he came back, got really into making money. So he bought a bunch of Coors bottling plants. Then he got really into getting drunk. He said he was an alcoholic for years. And he's like, and then he eventually came back to Christ. And he's like, it's his quote is, it's better to walk with Christ than to walk on the moon. And he's the one that actually, what you just said, try it. He actually told me, he was like, I think he pretty astute for a guy in his 90s. He was like, try it. You can roll your eyes. It's not real. He's like, just try it. And and I did, and that's when I came back to God. And I interviewed him several times, and I had him on again for episode 1000 a couple years ago. And his wife, Dottie, joined him, and we were actually talking at the end of the episode. And I was talking about how grateful I was for how far the podcast had come, and it just, I'm just, when I look at it, it's like it's not making a lot of money, but I'm like, to me, I'm like, it's paying my rent. I get to do this for a living. I'm so blessed. And I actually said, I go, but sometimes I feel kind of guilty that it's working. And sometimes I feel kind of guilty. And she cut me off and she goes, that's Satan. And I just kind of paused, and I'd never, you always think about Satan. It's like, it's the evil. He's going to tempt you. You never think about if Satan's cunning, and he is, wouldn't he also make you go, if everything else he tried failed, wouldn't he look at you being grateful for seeing a sunrise and having running water? Wouldn't he look at you and go, yeah, you shouldn't be that happy, are you? Why are you so happy, you fucking prick? Why are you? And that's something I struggle with a lot is
Well,
when
someone
I
might
feel
drag you
happy.
down. Someone might drag you. What are you so happy about? Just on the psychological level. But
Yeah.
without question, look, I try not to be too religious stuff. I wanted a broad church, but I have to say it how I call it now, and I talk about
Yeah, I
it.
try not to beat people over the head with it. I try to meet them
Yeah,
where they are.
yeah.
But
But I say to people, if you are on the path and you have a public profile, they will send in spiritual hit teams,
they absolutely will.
100%.
They absolutely will, which is why you gotta
24/7.
fire them back. It's right off camera. I have two things. I have a crucifix and a gun. And say, man, I'm ready for the spiritual and and for the physical. I'm like, this one's for if they come through the door. The other one's for if they come from a different angle.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's wrap this shit. We went for 2 hours, man. That was fun as fuck.
That was fast. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good. I really enjoyed it. Really
that was
enjoyed
fun
it.
as hell. Um, we'll wrap this up because I got another show in a bit. But closing thoughts, right? How do you want to wrap this up? I
Look,
mean,
I didn't invent anything. If I'm anything, I'm not a journalist. I'm a political dissident. It's just the way it is. God intended me to do this. I am his imperfect weapon. He said, kick that door in. And now he's saying, look, you don't have to kick any more doors in. Just relax. Try and relax. So I'm relaxing and I'm trying to be more professional. Yes, part of it's me. 30% is, man, I'm 55. I got nothing. I'm in a foreign country. They all know the government knows I'm here. I've been approached by people, but there's no one sending me checks. I do want a future. I no longer can have a family. I'm too old now and I have no surety. But what I'm really about is so hopefully I can make some money on the side. But the other thing is this we all need to live. If we don't talk about this, do I believe, like if you said to me right now, Brendon, do you think it's all under control? I'm going to go, I'll bet it's under control. And I'll bet when I read the National Defense Authorization Act on the specifics of Pax Silica, which is actually a cover up, they're trying to normalize the greatest espionage case in history because they're embarrassed. At one level, they're just embarrassed. And you're going to go, but how could this be? Well, lots of people spoke out over the decades. Lots of people came forward and they were shut up, they were killed, they were transferred, they were fired. Everyone got in line. They privatized post 9/11. and they've privatized everything. And Israel moved in, China moved in, City of London moved in completely. The fight back is on. I do believe they are trying to fix it. Too many high level people have approached me. But when you're skydiving, do you risk no reserve? And I put to people, this is life or death now. The ability to switch off your power supply like that is in the hands of an Israeli company. Who warned me about this? Israeli dual nationals and Australian and American Jews who lived and worked in Israel. I didn't know who they were at the time. I did know who they were. I didn't know clearly they told me at Unit 8200, Intel. And they warned me about this 25 years ago, 20 plus years ago. It's a long story. It's all in here. You can download it. I'll send you a link.
Please do.
It's all in there. Newspaper articles. You wouldn't believe how detailed it is. The Israeli press has warned us. And they're saying, America, you are completely infiltrated. And now large segments, Likud is literally City of London, Bibi Netanyahu. They're not all innocent. All the left wing, they're also in on it too. But there's a large segment of the Israeli population, their military, their intel, they're not all the same. These intel communities are penetrated by the same snake, whether it's Mossad, even KGB, they're penetrated by the same internationalist snake. It's snuck in everywhere. Banking, finance. You give me the check, I'll take over the town. Not a problem. It's been warned about before countless times. I'm simply Gary Webb. Gary Webb didn't invent Iran-Contra. It was twice brought up over 10 years before. Both of those people ran away and left it. He was too stupid. Yeah, he was too stupid and he ran with it. And they probably killed him. Very sad. His case is very, very sad. And you saw, what's his name, in the Kill the Messenger, great actor. Oh, you know the actor I'm talking about. He's out of the Green Zone and a whole bunch of movies. You know the actor, the actor, that guy.
I did. Everyone always thinks I'm lying.
He plays Gary Webb. He plays Gary Webb. Anyway, you'll know who it is straight away. He's the guy out of The Archer, out of the Marvel series.
Nobody believes me. I don't know what it is about me. Any famous movie, I guarantee you I haven't seen it. It never does it for me. I don't.
It's a good movie. Well, we should talk about Roger Reeves next because he's got a contract. He had a contract, I believe. Sorry, Roger, but I think that worked out. I'm in the back of your book. Thank you to my good friend Brendon O'Connell. I said, take it out of your book, please. They were doing a 10-part Apple series deal, and suddenly it was stopped. Anyway, we should talk about him. I'm try and get him on. I'll contact him and try and get him to come on. He's been on Lex and all the big channels, except Joe Rogan. I told him you're never getting on, and sure enough. Anyway, the point is this issue has been around for a long time. I simply ran with it, introduced it to state counterterrorism. They threatened me. I threatened them back, and it all went downhill from there. I've been approached by high level, like all the way, Intel, ASIO, military intel in Malaysia, Opus Dei, you name it. I've been approached. They all think I'm an asset. That's why they kept talking to me. And they just couldn't believe I was just this guy. They just couldn't believe it. So the bottom line is I'm still alive. The bottom line is that clearly behind the scenes been, the Adjustment Bureau, that movie with Matt Damon, they've clearly been opening doors, closing doors, just shuffling me around. That's okay. But this can be fixed. And if you haven't heard about it, I beg you to watch my channel. And I hope we can talk again because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Be a little bit focused. You can see all my videos. They're on YouTube. I'm also on Patreon and Substack. Suspend your disbelief. Watch the videos. Just get some popcorn. Some of them are very professionally made. Some of my old ones from 2018. Israel's secret weapon, the Telpiot program, a whole range. Some of them are really good. And then come back, talk to Tommy, and discuss how you're going to engage in politics. We've got people engaged in politics. We're crashing CPAC. We're crashing Republican Party meetings. We've got flyers, and we're just getting out there. It's a slow grind, but we're making a difference. And through this grassroots movement, and it seems to be an awful lot of Catholics. I don't know what with all the Catholic converts is going on, but there's something going on.
Whatever.
And I understand why you hate. No one hated the church more than me. Yeah. They raped my father. I freaking hate him. Rape another person I know. No one hates him more than me. I went to the Russian Orthodox Church, just as corrupt.
Yeah,
just as corrupt. Great people in it, but just as corrupt. They're into drug trade. It's everywhere. It's in the Anglicans. It's in the Protestant. They're dealing drugs out of massive 40,000 seat stadiums. The laundering drug money for crying out loud in these 40,000 seat stadiums. I've heard rumors about Alex Jones and all the powders they push. It's not just ordinary powders, and he's terrified. He can't stop it.
I'm just telling you that all this can be stopped when we move grassroots and penetrate the cabinets, just as Klaus Schwab said, penetrate the cabinets. Protesting and shouting and yelling doesn't work. Yes, 30% is having a podcast, but they've got it wound up. They can close you off and put you in a bubble and talk to your friends and bots. Okay? You've got to move. I'd say Democrats, but they appear to be mentally ill. Might as well go to a mental illness institution. So just go to your Republican meeting. You'll find Mary Silver on my channel and her own place. She's still out there. She's running again. She's met Semi Bird, Green Berets, Joe Kent. We've got to talk about him. We've given him stuff. They all know. You've got to back up the intelligence community. You've got to back up FBI counterintelligence. You've got to back them up by seeing a grassroots movement. So those supervisors like Dave Frasca, who stopped 5 separate investigations into Mohammed Atta, Dave Frasca, one guy, head of the Muslim fundamentalist unit, 5 separate FBI investigations when they're saying there's Muslims learning to fly. It's all very sus. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. When you give that grassroots movement, the assets in the field, the good people in policing, state, federal, intelligence community can move. They can pressure their supervisors and they can start to change things. There's good people in those institutions.
And yeah, again, when you look at like what one guy can do, that also implies the inverse. What good can one guy do? And and I'm with you. That is the grassroots. That is the pushing back against it, and it can be done. And what you're saying about, and I don't know if this is what you meant, but what you said about, you go skydiving, you're gonna gamble on whether or not you have a reserve.
Yeah, skydiving's very safe, people. Good chance. Give me $1 million. I'll jump without a reserve. I've done it. Well, I haven't done without a reserve. But, would you prefer to have a reserve?
Well, and
The reserve is,
that's kind of what I pitch to people as like God.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm sure I have my doubts because I'm human. I have my doubts and I have to pray to God. Are you 100% sure he's not there? 'Cause that's a big gamble. That's a that's a big gamble. Are you 100% sure that he's not there? I don't know, man. That's kind of ballsy. And that's how I look at it is like, hey, man, I am sure he's there. But even if I wasn't, would you not hedge your bet? Hey, there's a chance he might be real. Do you really want to fuck that up? And I don't think the answer, I don't think the
Oh, I think people get it. I mean, when you walk left instead of right, who did that? You didn't think that. It came from somewhere else.
yeah. It's
When you
it's
go, something's wrong. Did you think that? You didn't think that. You
yeah,
felt it. Where'd it come from?
yeah, God's all around you, man. But you do have, and this is the most important, you do have free will. God gave that to you. So you have to seek him out. He'll help you around here and there, but ultimately the last little 1 inch is you have to ask him.
Look, man, the quantum field, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, is moving,
Whatever you
clearly
want to call, I'm
moving.
with you. Whatever you want to call it, there's good and evil. The end. It's just what it is. Why? I don't know. But God wants us here, and He wants us going through this selection course for whatever reason. I
Yeah,
have
and
no
I don't
idea.
care about the big church anymore. My view is
No, no, I don't. I don't know. I don't go to church.
I
I
don't care.
pray.
I'm just going to speak it. And if I have to hang out with highly motivated Christians, Muslims, Jews who have some belief in a supernatural God, we've got to do something about this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's. He's calling you, and He didn't put you here by accident, and He didn't abandon
Yeah.
you.
And he didn't say, just chill out. I'll be back. I'll be back. And you just chill out and wait for
He
Jesus.
did
It
not
doesn't mean
say
any of
that.
that.
He did
No.
not say that. He put you here for a
Yeah.
reason.
He said, be of good cheer. But, if you saw someone being raped, what would you do? Go, oh, Jesus is coming. Good. The chaos is increasing. Wonderful. You
No,
wouldn't do that. So let's
no.
just let's just get in there and fix this and we'll see what happens. Messiah comes, Messiah comes. No one knows the time or the hour, not even the sun.
Yep. It's and that's how I look at it. I'm like, yeah, I fully accept it. I'm like, this podcast might take off beyond my wildest dreams. It might just be a silent shot in a parking garage, and I wouldn't know. But I truly, the big man's looking out for me, and I know he is. So it's,
Amen.
amen, brother.
And
Dude,
God bless America. You've done a lot of bad things, America, but you were drunk, you were taken over, you were infiltrated. Now is the time. We free America. We free the world. Spread the revolution. Free the slaves, America.
you can turn it around. Yeah, you got fucked up. You're an idiot. You did some stupid shit. Maybe you stole a mailbox in college. I did. Hey, you grow up and you go, all right, I shouldn't have done that. You can still turn it around. So, dude, send me all the links to your stuff in the email. I'll copy and paste it and put it in here. I'll upload this after my next show. I'll be up today.
And please talk
Um,
to Mary Silver, congressional candidate. She's amazing.
I'll make a note of that.
I'll send you a link.
Please do. Yeah, dude, would love to have you on again sometime. So appreciate your time,
Great
man.
stuff. Really enjoyed it, Tommy. You have a great day and talk again
Hey,
soon.
man.
God bless.
Hey, man. Thank you for coming on here. Guys, thank you for
Pleasure.
watching. Brendon, till next time, brother.